All right, everybody, welcome back to the No Quarter Podcast,
Idaho's #1 podcast,
episode 34,
brought to you by Vector Industries
and shopblackrifle.com.
and SimShot.
There we go.
And
Soon we got a couple more sponsors. Well, at least one more.
Yeah, where is that package at?
Hasn't come through yet.
I don't know, but when you get a bunch of free shit, you can't. I thought about texting him, but I'm like, man, I don't know. I don't really want to text him. Be like, where's my free
Where's our
shit at,
stuff?
dude? The fuck, bro? Where's that care package, dog? I didn't want to do that.
But that'll be pretty cool. It's an eyewear company. I'm excited about that.
Yeah. And I guess it's not like an official, like we don't have like a contract, but they're just like rep our shit, we rep your shit. And I'm like, send us free stuff. And they're like, yeah, all right, cool.
Yeah, that works out well.
Yeah.
Hey, today we got a guest on. Another one. Second guest in a row. I'm excited about it.
In a week.
Yeah.
Time frame.
So this is our good friend Matt Silvey. If you guys are local to the area, you probably know him from the Boise Black Rifle Shop. If you're not local to the area, you probably know him from, is it 2A Cops?
2A Cops.
On YouTube.
Correct.
And then you got like an OG Facebook page, right?
Yeah. Deputy Matt, that goes back to like 2012.
Yeah, like back when social media was, I mean, it was growing and big, but
Right.
it wasn't like the fame and accolades that it nets people today.
Yeah, correct.
Yeah. But you kind of got into that game pretty quick.
I started that page mainly because I was writing for a gun blog at the time, and I just wanted some way to interact without using my personal account.
Yeah.
Because I couldn't use my personal account because of where I worked at the time.
Oh, right.
Did they have a policy against?
Oh, yeah.
Oh.
Yeah. You couldn't talk politics or anything publicly and represent yourself as being on the department, which I wouldn't want to do. I wasn't trying to represent the department, but if I mentioned that I was a cop, somebody's going to dig it up and file a complaint.
Yeah.
Which I already had people try to complain to other agencies about me. It was ironic. They filed complaints with agencies I didn't even work for.
I should call Meridian. I should call Meridian today and file a complaint.
Be like, this guy 2A Cops who wasn't even a cop in Idaho.
This guy 2A Cops are gonna be like, who? I'm like, yeah.
Yeah.
So that kind of started the whole thing was blog writing and doing more written articles and whatnot.
Correct. I did have some. So the YouTube channel for Deputy Matt, which there is one, that was started with gun stuff, but then it delved into officer involved shootings and about the time Mike Brown started happening, it veered off from gun related content to cops aren't out there trying to kill every black person. Content, because it was just constant. If you remember 2014, it was insane.
Yeah.
So.
And it grew rapidly.
Actually, no. My Facebook, that channel just sat stagnant.
Really?
When did it Facebook? My Facebook channel started growing really fast, but then Facebook fucked with me, like they do any conservative page.
Right.
And it like as soon as I hit 19,000, it boom, like they turned a switch off. It hit 19 grand in like a couple of months, and then it just went flatlined.
Interesting. Well, and then you see pages like what is it, Donut Operator?
Yeah,
and
which
all he does.
know Cody.
And do you?
Yeah,
yeah. And like all he does is review officer involved shootings.
Yep,
and none of them are PC.
No,
they're funny as fuck though.
Well, he is more entertaining than I am. I will 100%.
Well, you were probably more like really about like this is like the educational takeaway for other law enforcement
100%.
people.
And he's just like, hey, look at this shitbag getting shot in the face.
Yeah.
Yep.
No, and he does address the legal aspects of it as well, but he's far more entertaining than I am.
Yeah.
He's also younger and hipper.
Yeah. He's got
pretty hip though. You got your Vans on.
I've been wearing Vans since the 80s, man.
Vans and white socks and a
I will not wear black socks.
You won't do it?
No. People who wear black socks with sandals, those are old people.
I don't.
From my generation.
I wear black socks.
The only time I saw black socks with tennis shoes when I was a kid, it was all the old people, and so no,
that's
I won't do
funny,
it.
man. How time
y'all are a bunch of pussies because it's all about raw dog in your Vans.
I wear
zero socks.
I can't do that. My feet stink if I wear no socks.
Smell it, dude. You just soak them in vinegar and hot water.
Vans smell so bad when you raw dog them.
All of them. So I dated a girl who was like the prettiest, hottest thing in the world, and she raw dogged her Vans.
Oh, they stink.
And one day we went back to her place and took
them
off, and I was just like,
Lord,
fuck. So much less hot now. I'm still down, but like so much less hot.
Yeah, I wear the I got them. I started buying them from because my wife got mad when I was stealing her no-show socks.
Yeah.
And so I can only get them in the female section, so most of them have like pink logos and stuff. I don't care. They're
cute.
You know, that is what it is. It's a little embarrassing when you got to take them off, but
yeah,
there you go. I love the Vans.
Yeah.
I'll never stop wearing them.
Not great.
I actually started wearing them because of him. I like last year, the year before, I started to develop like a foot issue, and I was wearing Solomon's, like, dude, expensive shoes. And I think you're like, dude, you should try Vans. And I put them on, dude. They're just
the flatter
amazing.
shoes are better.
Yeah, they're
Vans,
better.
Converse, flat shoes are better for your feet.
I will say
It's
they are a
neutral.
little narrow in the toe box. So if you got a really wide.
Vans wide now. So
really?
Vans came out with a whole. If you go to their website and go to shoes, you click wide, and everything that's in here right now comes in wide.
Interesting.
But what doesn't come in wide is all their cool ass MTX shit, all their hiking boots, their tack boots, their fucking cushy running shoes.
Dude, I want to get
none
some
of those.
I want to get some of the Vans like tactical shoes.
Have you seen their newest ones?
Simply just because they're Vans.
The clicky ones.
I have those.
Oh, they've got
Click,
boa.
click, click, and it like snugs.
Yeah,
the boa.
it's got a boa.
Yeah. I don't know
Yeah,
what
that's the only place I get holes in these is right on my pinky.
pinky blowout.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep. I don't know.
But
I love
I
them,
usually
though.
get one right around here.
Yeah.
Right
Where it gets
where
wide.
shoe bends.
Yeah. So, okay. So, do you want to talk a little bit about your career a little bit and then kind of how you got into doing like commentaries? Because now it's mostly gun reviews, right?
Yeah.
You don't do a whole lot of police review.
Not
stuff.
unless something
Good
Significant.
really blows up. I'll jump back. I'll make a Deputy Matt video, but that channel pretty much is kind of stagnant.
Yeah. So you were, can you talk about what department you were
Yeah,
with? Or is that,
I'm retired now. I can say whatever the fuck I want.
so who are you with? What'd you do? How long did you do it for?
I worked for the Sacramento County Sheriff's Department for 23 years. Majority of that was patrol. Did a couple years in the jail initially. Actually, a year and a half in the jail.
Is that every Sac County deputy goes to the jail first?
Unless you're blessed by somebody, yeah.
Yeah.
Like some guys will get snagged right out of the academy to go do narc stuff.
Just because
Because they fit a certain role.
profile.
Yeah, exactly. They check boxes. But no, I mean, it not. You couldn't send me in to be a
Hey guys,
a gang
can I-
member,
can I
right?
get some marijuana?
Like, yeah, exactly.
Do you guys have any crack cocaine?
Right.
Crack cocaine?
Yeah. So I mean, you gotta fit the role.
Yeah.
Right? They couldn't grab me and send me in to do that kind of stuff. So it makes sense. But those guys will get picked right out shortly after out of the academy and go to that. But most 99, it's you either went to the branch jail, the main jail, or you went to work release. Were the three places where they start out. So I went to the main jail.
Yeah. You guys don't do the courts also?
You do, but typically the courts is going to be more of a, like, people want to work the courts.
Oh, really?
Because holidays off, business hours.
Sounds miserable.
No weekends.
dude,
How'd you only get a year and a half in the jail? Don't like a lot of these guys get stuck in there for ever?
Yeah. So when I got hired, the average jail stint was about 6 years.
Oh,
Yeah.
So wait,
That's
hold on.
brutal.
you want to be a cop and then you
In
get stuck being
order,
a jailer
in
for
order to
6
become
years.
a beat cop in Sacramento, you have
With the sheriff's department.
That's a lot
Sheriff.
of that's a lot of sheriff's
have
departments.
to mandatory. Is it like written in policy? Like you got to.
No.
That's just what they do.
So when you, there's a patrol rotation list. Because
Right.
there's only so many positions in patrol.
Right.
So you get put on the list. It varies depending on how fast promotions are going, how fast retirements are going.
Yeah.
So it changes. Like guys that got hired in, I want to say it was 2002, 2003. Those guys were hitting the streets in like 2 years.
Okay.
But when I got hired in 97, it was the average stint was about 6 years.
Damn. I want
At
to be a
that
cop.
point-
Go work in the jail. Fuck.
Well, the problem is a lot of times guys would find that they'd get into a rhythm and they would just stay there their whole career, which I can't imagine working the jail as a,
Yeah.
because you didn't
it's
go
like
to the academy wanting to work the jail.
No.
No.
You go to CDC if you want to work the jail.
Yeah, because you get paid way better.
Yeah.
So
That's wild. My brother-in-law was an IDOC guard officer. I don't know what you call them, but
yeah, I don't.
they're like half cops. Like they're kind of cops, but not really.
Babysitters.
Basically.
One of my friends who is a sheriff here says they're door openers.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Button pusher. I was a door opener.
Well,
Wagon wheel looking at her.
He did the cell extraction or whatever because I guess they get a bunch of guys who throw temper tantrums and try to get violent in their cells, and so they've got like a team of guys who specialize in going and
we had the same thing. I
beating
was,
people up.
I was on the CERT team, the
That's
custodial
what CERT, yeah.
emergency response team.
yeah.
Yeah.
I would cover myself in shit
A lot
That's
of them
what they do.
I would
Yeah,
legit
that's
shit on the floor and then roll
Referred
in
to
it.
as bronzing yourself.
Yeah, I'd bronze myself and I'd go, I'm not leaving this cell. And you'd be like,
except for
yes, you are.
You're
And I
just gonna
say,
leave that cell.
Oh, dude,
smelling like
I'm going to
shit.
put poop on my fingers and I'll just look at everyone and be like,
It happened all the time.
All the
let's
time.
go.
That's what shields are for.
Isn't
and the
that
shields in
crazy?
the jail are shaped differently.
Shit shields.
Instead of being rounded this way to protect you from stuff, they're
looks like
rounded
an
out-
way so you can stuff the guy
Yeah,
against the
corner
wall
him.
or something.
Yeah, I've seen
so
those.
gross.
They should make it look like a big poop emoji.
God, I can't even imagine trying to like detain someone or restrain them and just covered it. Put your hands behind. Just like, I just couldn't do it, dude. I gag when I wiped my kid's ass when he's growing up. There's no way I can handle being a cop. Fuck me. Jeez.
I don't want to touch dirt bags.
So after you did your stint there, what do you know what made you get out of the jail so soon?
Yeah, I applied for a specialized job and got it.
Perfect.
They had so we had deputies for whatever reason running our fleet management. We actually, it made sense in a way. The unfortunate part in law enforcement is if you're asking for budgetary money to add bodies, they will throw money at cops. They'll put more cops on the road, but they won't put more administrative personnel on.
Gotcha.
So they had deputies doing all kinds of administrative stuff that could have been handled by a civilian.
So you had sworn officers that were fleet mechanics.
No, not working on the car, just running the fleet.
Got
Like
it.
as far as
PMI schedules and all that kind of stuff.
and buying vehicles, equipping vehicles, all kinds of stuff like that.
That actually sounds
not
fun
like
as fuck.
literally
Yeah.
buying them, but writing the specs for what
Right,
vehicles
right.
for
Yeah.
undercover
Putting the
cars.
orders
Then you
in.
said it's a procurement and they handle
Yep,
it.
exactly.
That sounds like a
so
hoot, though.
it was actually a fun job. I had to take home unmarked car 2 years into the job,
No.
which was interesting. I used to go out and I would work John Stings on Auburn Boulevard and go arrest guys that were picking up prostitutes who weren't prostitutes; they were deputies.
Were they hot?
Oh yeah, dude, that was the thing. It was funny. One dude got hooked up. This one female deputy, friend of mine, very attractive. He gets arrested and he's like, I figured she had to be a cop, but I had to take a chance.
She was so hot I had no choice, dude.
Exactly.
So your buddy who was a cop got arrested.
No.
No.
She was the
She was-
decoy.
oh, got it. Okay.
Yeah. No, the dude who pulled over and got arrested was like,
Yeah.
I figured she had to be a cop, but she was so good looking, I had to take the chance just in case.
Can I just say that's so fucked up though? Like now, yes, with the trafficking portion, I get like
Dude,
the need.
it existed back then.
I know it did,
Oh,
but back then it
probably.
didn't seem so public. But it's like, dude, if like some dude's just trying to go pick up a hooker,
Yeah,
it's
dude,
like so not malicious.
Except
For
So-
her, yes, I get it.
No, I don't mean that. It degrades the entire community where it's occurring.
That is true. Okay, I'll give
So
you that.
there are negatives,
Yes.
even though there's no victim of the actual prostitution.
unless she's being trafficked, which,
Unless
Unless
she's being
she's being
trafficked,
trafficked.
which
yeah.
most of them are.
And I hear pimps are
And-
not very nice.
No, they
Well,
100%.
And
So-
what I learned, there's a nonprofit that I think it's called Deliver Fund or something like that. That's active now in combating trafficking. But
Yeah.
they do more like SIGINT, and then they'll like they'll develop target packages and then hand them over to agencies, or work hand in hand with the agency or
Yeah.
whatever. But what their definition of what trafficking is different than what I would have thought.
Yeah.
My understanding or assumption of what human trafficking is like you got kidnapped and drugged and forced into addiction and then thrown out on the streets. And that
so
does
the
occur.
The movie
Right.
Taken.
That
Yeah.
does occur.
Yes.
But the threshold for being trafficked can be a far lower bar
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
than what that is.
Runaway kid, you
Yep.
take them in and you just force them to go out and earn money.
Right. Or maybe not even forced, but you're taking a cut in a state where it's considered
Right.
illegal. Like that
Yeah.
that can be charged as trafficking.
Yeah. I'm just thinking from the guy's point of view. It seems like entrapment. You know,
I don't know, man.
No, because you're not making them stop. You're not.
you're not making them, but it's like you're putting this hot ass cop out there, and she's over here just like $50. I'll do whatever you want,
And
and the poor guy's just like,
She's probably even like twirling the handcuffs. Like,
no. And for the record, like Simshot has a strong stance on human trafficking and stuff like that. So,
but not prostitution.
But prostitution's like the oldest job. Didn't Jesus kick it with prostitutes?
to save them from
Yeah,
themselves.
yeah,
Was he though?
exactly.
Yes.
I mean, do we have record of that?
The Bible.
I think the Bible is considered a record of that. Yeah.
Oh, yeah. No, I mean, like, I don't know, man.
Yeah.
I mean, and also on record, like, I don't go around picking up prostitutes.
Just to get that
Is there
out
a record of this?
There is no record because I've never been caught. No.
Yeah.
I'm scared of AIDS. I couldn't do it. And herpes and syphilis. But still, like, yeah.
Well, you're afraid of the
There are
common
there's other aspects that you're talking about right there that do affect society.
Yeah,
absolutely.
So
yeah, lady has AIDS
Dude,
and she's getting pimped
most of
out.
your hookers aren't out there. They're not clean cut, normal people living normal lives.
No.
They're drug addicted. They're
They're
down on their luck.
desperation,
They're
yeah.
desperate. Yeah, they're disease ridden.
Mm-hmm.
Dude, the lot lizards, man. You go out to like the truck stops, bro.
Yeah.
It's terrifying. And you see them, like, you'll see them, like, I used to drive truck for Caterpillar. You'll see them, like, they'll hop out of one truck and, like, just, like, go clean up real quick a little bit and then hop into the next truck.
So
it's
gross.
dirty, man. It is
So
dirty.
gross. Okay, so anyways, you got into your specialized unit.
Yep.
And that is what got you out. So essentially you got into working the fleet.
Yeah.
And that was how you gained access to leave the jails so quickly.
That got me out. Yeah, correct.
That's a smart way to do it.
Well, it was a brand new position they didn't even have before.
Yeah.
They were looking to fill it, and like 15 people from it was a department of 1,800 people.
Yeah.
And only 15 people put in for it. And I had worked in the auto industry before going into law enforcement, and I'm still am computer nerd.
Yeah.
So I'd built computers. I could do software stuff, and they needed to convert the whole vehicle database was on an IBM mainframe.
Okay.
This is in the late 90s. It was still using a room-sized computer that, it was stupidly retarded old at that time. And so I ended up converting it over to a Microsoft Access database and did a bunch of stuff. So
Nice.
Of the people that applied, I was the only one who had both computer and cars.
Gotcha.
So
it made sense.
yeah, there were a lot of people pissed that a dude with a year and a half on got the job.
Yeah.
I bet.
Yeah.
How long did you stay in that position for?
2.5 years. I was begging to leave at 2 years.
A lot of work.
No, I wanted to go work patrol. I wanted to be a
Just
cop.
not being a cop.
Yeah, that's exactly it. Dude, with my unmarked car, I was doing stops all the time. I got in a couple pursuits. I had a guy ram me head on one day. He was driving a stolen car that hadn't been reported yet.
Like what? You just like at your lunch break,
on
you
my,
go out and
on
go
my
be
way
a
to
cop?
and from work.
They're like, don't do that.
Dude, a friend of mine worked graveyard, and the time I got rammed head on, I started voicing the vehicle stop on the radio, and they're like, "Fuck, Silvey." They all had to get up and run out of breakfast because it turned into a pursuit, and then he rammed me head on and foot bailed across, Sunrise.
Oh, yeah.
Foot bailed across Sunrise.
Boulevard.
6 o'clock in the morning, rush hour traffic. I'm wearing a Hawaiian shirt because I was working a John Sting that night.
Awesome.
I'm wearing a
Damn,
Hawaiian
dude,
shirt,
that's
running
it.
across Sunrise with a handgun in one hand and a radio in the other, chasing the dude.
That's like the first bad
You get him? You got him?
Yeah, we got him. One of our canine guys was
I
just
love
leaving
that.
his house, and he lived right down the street, and so he just zipped over and snagged the guy that was running from me.
What were you carrying back then?
SIG 220.
Oh, all right. Before they started shooting in the holster.
The 220s don't go off. Yeah,
Still
no,
don't. Yeah.
hammer fired. Yeah, no. Oops. Yeah, no. We were a SIG department at that time. So, and anybody that got hired in my group, guys who had been on for a while, could carry a lot of whatever they wanted.
Yeah.
But by the time I got hired, I was the second academy to go through after we had switched from revolvers.
So
we were-
so
So
yeah,
like
they
we
were
were
all on wheel
it was
guns.
all prior to that, the guys who'd
That's
gone through during
wild.
revolvers, they could carry whatever they wanted. There were guys that carried 10 mil 1911s. But anybody who got hired from the academy before me and after that had to carry a SIG.
Interesting.
So
So you couldn't test out of the SIG to another platform?
no, you could carry so the department would issue you a 226 in 9, a 226 in 40. No, I'm sorry, they weren't making the 226 in 40. A 229 in 40, or a 225, which was actually a model that I wish I could get my hands on. I like it. It's a little single stack 8-shot 9 mil. It's like you took a 226 and shrunk it
down.
and then made it a single stack. It's actually a pretty good sized little concealed carry gun, but I didn't want to carry 9 mil because this is the late 90s and 9 mil sucked. So I bought my own 45 and carried that.
Stopping power.
Dude, I'd much rather get shoot somebody with a 45 at that time versus 9mm, because 9mm ammo really was shitty
it was
in the
not
late 90s.
nearly what it is now.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely.
The 9mm of that era is why they invented the 40 and the 10mm.
No,
That was the whole FBI thing,
I still
right?
totally don't want to get shot with anything.
Yeah.
Well, no.
Yeah.
Nah.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Depends
I mean,
on
if
where.
I had to choose,
If I had to choose, give me a 25. Shoot me with a 25. Not a 22. 22s do weird shit.
Yeah, they bounce
do
around.
all kinds of weird
Yep.
shit.
yeah, no,
25s are anemic.
Something small and fast.
I don't even know what a 25 is.
What?
It-
You don't even know what a 25
Wait a
is?
minute. Aren't you a firearms trainer?
Yeah, in
He
2025,
he only trains 9mm.
I'll train anything that shoots. But if you bring me something called a 25, I'm gonna be like, "What is that? You mean 22?" And they're gonna be like, "No, I don't know what that is."
Have you ever seen a Raven?
I think so.
Yeah.
Is that what it is?
Well, I mean, that was a very popular gun that shot 25.
Yeah.
Oh,
I mean, Browning made some little tiny pocket pistols back in the early 1900s that were in
Gotcha.
20. 25 is a very old cartridge, like
Yeah.
turn of the 19th or turn of the 20th century old
Back when like,
cartridge.
you guys were young.
Yeah, exactly.
Fuckers. You don't know what a 25
What
is?
was it like
It's-
working patrol before they had
coming
cars?
from the guy wearing white socks.
on barefoot?
That's funny. Nice. So then you got onto patrol
Yep.
and then
Did-
rode that out.
Did most of my career in patrol. When the economy went to shit in 07, I went back to the jail. I was like, I don't want to. We were going to be majorly shorthanded in patrol. I'm like, screw that. I'll just go back to the jail. I was there like 2 weeks before I put my name back on the
Yeah.
rotation list because I forgot how shitty working in the jail was.
Yeah.
So
You
then,
seen that?
That specific gun.
That's the Raven.
Yeah.
Have you guys seen Men in Black?
It looks like the noisy
noisy
cricket.
Noisy cricket.
and then the last 3 years of my career, I was a full time evac instructor.
Oh, dude. So when I went to medic school, the Sac County Sheriff, because it was out at the
Yep. Out at Mather,
yeah, we went through that evac
SAC
course.
Fire ran all the medics through their course.
I had deputies over mine. I didn't have firefighters. Although
If you were driving city rigs, it would have been a city fire. They had ambulances and fire rigs out there.
we did. It was in 2014.
Okay.
It was they did have an engine, but I wasn't affiliated with a department.
Yeah.
And so we did do like one course in an ambulance and one in an engine, but the rest of the time we did the skid pan,
in patrol
all
cars.
the cornering and everything was all in patrol cars.
Yeah.
And for the people who don't know, can you explain what EVOC is?
Emergency vehicle operation
Course.
Course.
Yeah. So it's teaching cops how to drive.
Yep.
Yeah.
Cops and firefighters and,
Yeah.
and ambulance drivers.
I'm assuming a lot of cops are going to listen to this because when you post anything about cops on YouTube, you get crucified. I found that out. But
Oh, interesting.
have you seen my video?
No.
That we shoot the police post qualification.
Oh yeah, that is.
And the whole
yeah.
time I'm just like, this is fucking too easy. Like,
Is it Idaho's post qual?
yeah,
Yeah.
it's silly easy.
The requirements are people are under the impression that cops are gun people.
Yeah, no,
most
there's
cops
normal
are
people.
not gun
They're
people.
Yeah,
normal people who
100%.
get a gun and
It's
have it
because they
as part
have
of
to
their
have a
job.
gun for their job.
Yeah.
There's
Yeah.
a lot of people. It's just a tool on their belt, and they don't want to
Yeah.
ever use it.
Which is terrifying because if you're gonna have,
Oh,
You did it.
we could take a pause. You want to go get don't put it on your shirt. Just go get a.
go get a
Dang.
paper towel or something.
All right, we're back after Jeremy's little snafu. He spilled coffee. That's never fun.
You spilled coffee, bro.
I didn't. I got a bubbly.
What the hell were we talking about?
What we were talking about.
Cop shit.
Something about Evoc.
No, you.
Oh, you were saying
posting
that your
YouTube
video.
videos.
Yeah.
You
So
shot
I
the-
assume this episode's gonna have a lot of law enforcement watch it because again, like a lot of like, dude, when we did this, we got fucking. Nick did low ready once, like this, like competition low ready. Fucking dude, this motherfucker didn't even do real low ready. I mean everything. You had no retention holsters, and I'm just like, you can give me a level 10 fucking retention holster. I'm still gonna burn this fucking drill down. And so we got hit hard by like ex-law enforcement guys. So I assume this episode is going to get a lot of views in that sense, but also like when we use like EVOC, like I don't think the average civilian even has a single
an idea
grasp
of
on
what
that.
it
True. Yeah.
That's
So yeah,
fair.
so sorry, that's all. Like when I'm redundant, like go ahead and explain that. It's just so
Don't use the cop lingo.
no, use the cop lingo. But like then like when I ask the question, don't assume that I'm the idiot. It's
Yeah. No.
We
Our
already,
listeners are the
we already
idiots.
assumed
No,
that
just kidding.
anyway.
I am definitely 100% fucking brain dead.
That course
All right.
was awesome though.
that was a blast.
The high speed cornering I don't
The
know,
corner
layout,
course.
whatever. Where it's
Yeah.
like there's a cop or one of the instructors who they were kind of like the rabbit, and you just had to follow them, and they were
How
going through,
fun.
and then at one point another vehicle
You
would
had to
like
watch for cross
Yeah,
traffic.
exactly.
Yeah, all the things you get to for the fire paramedic aspect of it. It wasn't necessarily a pursuit, but that was just they were leading you around the course so
Right.
that you didn't just wander around on your own.
yeah.
That way, the intercept cars they knew where you were going to go.
Right.
It was like a set course.
It was a ton.
But
of
for
fun.
us, it was straight up pursuit.
Pursuit.
You were chasing
yeah,
and it was the same thing. We had the same thing. You'd have an interference vehicle out there that would have to do certain things.
What years were you there?
2016 to 2019.
Oh, so I wouldn't have had you as an instructor.
2015 to 2019.
Yeah, that was a great course.
I would love it if the average human took any kind of eval course. They're so sick.
Didn't they have a civilian available?
City ran a civilian course like once a month and it was mainly to get kids
Yeah.
out there to learn how to drive their cars.
Yep.
The skid pan. Like
Learning oversteer and understeer is huge for people.
It was polished. I don't know if it was actually polished, but it was all very smooth concrete, water with slicks on it.
So
It was great.
the facility used to be a B-52 parking pad it was a SAC airfield.
Yeah.
It was Strategic Air Command. They were like loaded up with nukes, B-52s sitting on
Ready
the
to go.
pad. If you tried to get through the fence, they'd shoot you. Our department had a pursuit that ended at the fence line. And the guards at the base, this is back when it was a SAC airfield,
Yeah.
said, if you had crossed that fence line, we would have shot you.
The cops.
The cops. Yeah.
Really?
Yeah. 100% nobody gets on that base.
Whoa.
Oh, even law enforcement.
Even law enforcement. Unless you're authorized to be there, so they're like, we're glad we didn't have to shoot you.
Yeah. Well,
But just know that for future
well,
reference.
at the
Just
time-
let the bad guy run on. We'll
we'll
dump
take
him.
care of them.
Yeah. And the B-52 was like a big deal. And then also,
back then, yeah.
And then also like nukes.
Yeah. No, I
Yeah.
mean, it was straight up.
Let's
Like
keep
nukes.
motherfuckers out of here.
Yeah.
Yeah. I agree.
Yeah, 100%. That was one of those things that nobody gets on
And
unless
SAC,
they're
Sheriff,
offered.
SAC Sheriff starts funneling all of their pursuits to that gate.
That's actually
Let the feds take care of it.
But so they were just the big concrete parking pads.
Yeah.
That concrete was like 2 or 3 feet thick. It was like super thick because the
Yeah.
B-52s are very heavy. But what they did when we first got that facilities, there was a bunch of the guys that were going to be running EVOC because they had to build the whole
Yeah.
place. They were out there on their hands and knees with disc grinders,
I believe.
Smoothing it out.
smoothing
So
the
they
concrete.
did polish it.
So you can tell the area where they started and then the
Where
area
they
where they
finished.
ended because it was a lot smoother in one
Yeah.
area. By the end, it's not as smooth.
Yeah.
So the car slid better in certain corners.
So for
That's crazy.
For context, a lot of because I don't know, at least in my field, you're supposed to go through EVOC every few years to refresh
Right.
your certification. But for the ambulance side, the skid pan, most of the time, what they're doing is they've got it's like this bracket that will take weight off of the front or the back or one of the sides to induce oversteer and understeer. So it's not very real feeling because it's just
Yeah.
mechanically induced.
Mm.
And so having the skid pan was awesome because you were in full control of your vehicle and it was all throttle control and understanding like the medium that you were on. It was great.
Yeah, that was a lot of fun. I'd let people. The skid pan was the one place that would get people car sick the most.
Oh, for sure.
But dude, I could be on the skid pan for
All day.
8 hours a day.
Oh,
What's the percentage of people that flunk out of the academy because of driving?
It's pretty low, but it would be 3 or 4 a year.
It's not bad.
did you guys handle
Out
the
of
motor
academy
stuff?
classes of about 60 to 70 students.
Did you guys teach motors as well?
We did teach motor school out there also.
That's probably
I
got a
wasn't
higher
one of the
attrition
motor
rate.
instructors. There was typically the motor instructors were guys who worked motors, because there's certain things that you do different things on a motor
Yeah.
than you do in a cop car.
Yeah.
So.
I can imagine the attrition rate out of a motors course is probably
The motor school is a tough class.
yeah. I know the chippies, they're just pretty rigorous as well.
dude, those guys can maneuver those big bikes.
Yeah.
Like,
They're getting away from the Harleys. I think they're pretty much all more on like BMWs now.
dude, they should.
They
be
were
on-
BMW forever,
A
and then
long
they
time.
got some guys who wanted to go to Harley that were in charge, and so they went to Harley, and half the guys out in the field were pissed
Yeah.
because the Harley looks better. It's an American bike. It's got
Yeah.
that classic feel to it, but it for riding in traffic all day long, the BMW is a better bike,
Yeah.
especially the newer ones that are water cooled.
Yeah. They're fast, dude. It's
Yeah.
crazy. Those things rip.
Rip.
I want one, not a BMW. I mean, I just want a motorcycle in general. I guess.
I got a Harley for sale.
Dude,
It's a nice one too.
No,
You should go over and sit on it.
the problem too is like when you can afford it, it makes it really hard not to do that.
Yeah.
Like I like worry when Erica goes out of town and I get bored and I call her and she doesn't answer and I'm just like, well, that's a sign.
Yeah, that's a yes.
It's a sign.
It wasn't a no.
It's a silent yes. But no, I do want one. But I also recognize, even as a driver, I am fucking.
I don't think I'll ever jump on a bike again.
I'm reckless.
Especially not here.
I'm just reckless. I'm reckless, and the drivers terrify me.
Yeah.
Yeah, then you don't want to be on a bike.
I mean, I do want to be on a bike. That's the problem.
Drivers in the state
Well,
there's a few of them that are.
Dude, I get worried driving on a bike here.
Yeah.
Oh, I bet.
You ride pretty
More
often?
so because I've never seen anywhere in my entire life that I've lived, I've never seen more people run red lights than they do here.
Dude,
Interesting.
it is like the most normal thing, and no one gets mad about it. Very few people even honk. It's just like the last car goes, and then one car just enters and goes, and no one says shit. It's just almost like when the light turns green, you know to wait to confirm.
You ever have
when
one
I'm
of those?
on my bike, I'm like giving it a serious hard look if I'm at the front of the line.
Have you ever
every
had one
time.
of those days though where you just can't catch the lights are all against
So
you?
you're trying to get in front of it.
Yeah, and then you inevitably you're just like, oh, I was late on that one. I've had a couple.
I'm
of those
guilty as
days
charged,
where
dude. If I run red lights, I run stop signs. I don't fucking pay attention to anything.
Neat.
Sorry, what I should have said is I see it. I acknowledge it.
PD, copy
I
that.
see it. I acknowledge it. But
You
here's
wave
the thing.
as it's going by.
If I'm in control and I can clearly like navigate the situation, like, dude, I'm not going to stop at a stop sign at night when there's no one around.
No,
No.
okay.
Why the fuck would I do that?
Because
it's
Because
the
it's
law.
the law.
It's only the law if there's a cop there.
dude, I stop at.
No, that's the bear in the woods thing.
I stop
it's
at
still the
I
law.
stop at unregulated intersections in neighborhoods when there aren't stop signs.
Okay,
there.
so if it's like super residential and stuff, and it's not, like I'm gonna be hyper cautious about kids and all that stuff. But like if I'm driving down Water Tower and there's, you know, I just couldn't bring myself to look and go. Like,
I don't know, man. Maybe it's like you see enough T-bone collisions.
You guys both definitely have seen more crazy
It's
traffic
just-
shit than I have.
Yeah.
I don't
But
know.
I
It's
also
just
think
not-
that I'm
it's
a
not-
regularly
it's not
good
worth
driver.
not stopping. It saves you very little time to just keep going.
Let me throw this out there. Do you know anybody who says they're a bad driver?
Yeah.
Everybody thinks they're a good driver.
No. Like straight hands down, go look at my wife's brand new Tahoe.
But does she admit she's a bad driver?
Yep.
Okay.
She knows it. She said she'll drive people and be like, sorry, I'm not a very good driver. Like she'll get to a roundabout and be like, just so you guys know, I'm not sure what to do here still.
She's going opposite traffic.
In my experience,
Everyone thinks
working
they're
at
good.
EVOC, everybody thinks they're an awesome driver.
Yeah, I agree.
And not everybody's an awesome
Does
driver.
it humble them when they take that course?
It should.
Some of them, yes.
Or do they come up-
if they're self-aware, yes.
Yeah. Other people are just like,
But they
But some people are like,
Whatever.
I just had a bad day. Or that guy's, he fucked with me. He did something different.
You want to talk about like terrifying drivers? Try being a medic with
in the back.
an 18-year-old EMT who just got handed the keys.
Yeah.
And then you've got a really sick patient and you're like, hey, I need to go faster, but you're terrified to tell them to go faster because they've never driven anything of substance. They don't know how to handle weight. They don't know how to protect the brakes. They don't know how to clear intersections. It's terrifying.
Yeah.
It's terrifying.
you know what I will say about
I'm amazed
Idaho?
more medics don't die.
Bad drivers. Yes, I can agree with you all on that. I know Rob has like,
He's got plenty of video.
Fuck, dude. Rob probably hates the drivers here more than anyone I know. But I will
Dude.
say this: for the majority, compared to where I was in San Jose, California,
No,
If-
San Jose's horrible.
I mean, like, yep, totally. Which is why I think I'm a pretty good driver. 'cause
Well, there's
I
a pretty specific demographic there.
well, not just that. It's just not even that. It's everyone because of the amount of people. There's over 1 million people in the city of San Jose alone.
Yeah.
And not even accounting all of Santa Clara County.
Yeah, that's-
So just unbelievable amounts of human beings trying to move around. When a siren kicks on here,
Everybody gets out of the way.
pulls
over.
over.
Yep.
And I think that is strongly to do with cultural. Like I really think like the culture of the community like gets it. Like
the community is much more supportive of law enforcement and fire. And
Yeah.
just public service.
dude, there are times in San Jose where I'd be, or like even in Santa Clara, I'd be like driving towards Kaiser and there'd be an ambulance just smashing behind. I'd pull over and there would be a specific type of person just sitting there blocking, and he's just like, wah, 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 wah,
Oh,
and
dude,
just sitting.
it's brutal.
Right. And it's like, I will blow a fucking red light to get out of the way if there's an emergency vehicle that, if it's obviously, if I'm going to get T-boned, sorry, you're shit out of luck. I'm not going to go die.
Right. But like, nobody wants to do it unsafely.
Yeah. But it's like, I'll
safely.
blow a red light to let a cop through or a paramedic through or like that. And like,
I'll shut down. I'll wait for the light.
I usually would go around.
You really do?
Jump the island. And
I
go
mean,
over.
I will too, but if it's not that big of an emergency,
well, how do I know?
Well,
No, me. I'm saying like in the rig.
Oh.
I'll shut down. I'll wait for the light.
You know
and
what I've
light back
noticed
up.
here though? I don't see a lot of oncoming. Like in Sacramento, they would be oncoming all the time.
You have to go on.
Like-
because you had to.
But here, you don't really see them going on the other side. It's like they'll wait and then go.
Yeah.
You know, once people get out of their way. But you don't see big fire engines or anything.
Oncoming can be really dangerous.
Yeah, it's scary.
It can be really
Even for,
dangerous.
You got a good driver on the other end, but like when you're driving and you see another vehicle coming,
Yeah.
you know what I mean? Even if it's law enforcement or not, it's like, dude, what the fuck? Where are they going to go? Like, just stop.
Did you ever wreck out at all?
Yeah. I got in multiple crashes.
Did you?
Yeah.
Just during pursuits or just because you were driving like a maniac?
One of them was an end of a pursuit.
I'm a cop. Wee woo, wee woo.
So most of the only crashes I was ever involved in were basically all driving in traffic, non-emergency,
Just got rear-ended.
looking
or
at my computer, doing stuff, talking on the phone, looking at the computer, doing
Yeah.
like just mundane
Distracted,
shit
yeah.
that you do every day.
Yeah.
The only crash I got in that was pursuit related, unless you count pits, which they're not an accident. That's intentional act.
Yeah.
The only crash I got in pursuit related was at the end of a pursuit where the dude foot bailed out of his car and ran right in front of me. So I had to swerve to avoid running him over,
Oh,
and I hit a parked car. So
yeah.
It's better than hitting a person, I think.
Dude, one of my favorite.
yeah, if he'd been a really bad guy, it wouldn't have been a bad thing.
Yeah,
But
well,
he-
if it's like, I'm
he
a
was just driving a
pedophile, yeah, you run him
stolen, so-
over. Speed bumps.
yeah.
I like watching the videos. I think it's like Midwest Safety, and they highlight all the. I think it's Georgia State Police or something like that. And those dudes, they don't have shutdown policies. If they get into a pursuit,
Oh, yeah.
like
It's like Arkansas is the same
yeah,
way.
or maybe it's
Yeah.
Arkansas. Somebody's going airborne. Like,
Yeah,
that's
we're
the
going to
only
fucking
way
chase
that they
you,
can
and we're going to
do.
fucking pit you, turn you sideways, and if you hit the median and fly and eject.
Dude, they pit it
Oh,
like
wow.
100 plus all
Yeah,
the time. It's
watching a
wild.
video just the other day, Arkansas State Police did a pit at 140.
Oh,
dude.
did the
And-
guy eject?
That's
the
terrifying.
dude got killed. I'm like, that's not a pit. That's lethal force
Yeah.
at that point.
Oh, a vehicle is absolutely lethal force.
Did the
Our
cops-
department had 35 miles an hour max for
Yeah.
a pit.
Wow.
So pit, pursuit intervention technique.
That's
For
where
people
like
who don't know what that is. cop
Yeah,
lingo.
you like
Front bumper
Tap
to
the back,
rear
right?
bumper kind of.
Yeah, your front corner to their rear corner, and then
Yeah.
you just steer into them and spin them out.
Yeah.
is it pretty easy to maintain control of your vehicle?
Yeah, 35 and below.
Yeah, okay.
140, no.
Yeah.
The officer who did that pit ended up hitting a semi.
How'd he feel?
Dude, what's that?
I said, how'd he feel? Probably not very
Probably
good.
not great.
It's not just dangerous for the person you're pitting; it's dangerous for the cop
Everyone-
driving it. It's
yeah,
And
stupid.
everyone around.
Yeah, exactly.
Everyone
What would
around.
make them do that? Like,
I don't understand it. I mean, the
I would be
liability
in
on
fear
that
of
is
doing
insane.
that, even at over 100 miles an hour.
I can
or
tell you
80,
exactly
70.
what it is. You said Arkansas?
Yeah,
They're going, Yahoo! And they're fucking sending it. There's not a whole lot going on in there, dude.
Well, you know, so
you boys like Mexico?
somebody that's not a copper and you're watching like live PD or whatever, and then you see all these fucking guys, they shut down the pursuit, right? So
Yeah.
Well, California has a bunch of departments now that are starting to have.
Period.
There's
They
a
will
lot.
not
They're-
chase.
they have no
policies.
pursuit policies.
Yeah.
If they run, let them go.
And shockingly, crime rates are going up where that's happening.
Whoa, amazing!
I know.
Wow.
It's funny how that works.
but it's weird when you see them, like they're in a pursuit and they're going and they're going and they're chasing this guy for miles and miles. And then the sergeant just gets on the, hey, kill it.
Yeah, shut it down.
There's
Like, shut it down.
That was one
It's
of the
like,
things we
fuck.
talked about in the PowerPoint presentation for EVOC for the one where you had to come out every 2 years. Part of that is you got to weigh all the different things that are going on during the pursuit. What's the want on the suspect? What's the danger to everybody else? What's the danger to you? What's traffic conditions like? Where are you at? Is there a school in the neighborhood?
Yeah.
All these different things that you got to think about. People just see pursuits on TV and like, sweet, that looks like fun, which it is.
Yeah.
I'm not gonna lie.
Yeah, I've never had a cop friend say they didn't
You're like,
enjoy
yeah,
it.
I hate chasing bad guys.
But
sucks.
it really sucks when you're like, dude, I'm having fun, but I got to shut it down because we're heading towards the school. It's 3:00 in the afternoon.
Yeah,
I don't need to chase that guy into a crosswalk full of kids.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I think
for a minimal crime.
And they're panicking. So they're not paying attention to their surroundings.
Yeah. Right. They're watching you in their mirror. They're hardly watching where they're going.
Right.
Yeah. And I think for law enforcement guys too that get put in situations like that where the leadership's like full send that shit. Like hypothetically, the situation that happened in Arkansas with the cop that did that pit maneuver. What happens if after that pit maneuver, he didn't hit the big rig, he hit a minivan filled with kids?
Yeah.
And his intention obviously would never be to harm children or a woman or anything. But then like he smokes 2 kids in that car. Like you're never going to recover from that.
Well, no, you're right. And there's a huge ton of liability, even doing a pit at normal, what I consider normal speeds.
Yeah. But moral liability as well, not just like financial.
Well, yeah, no, it's not just that too.
Yeah,
you're talking going to prison liability.
Yeah, that, but just the moral. People often forget about that, I think, a lot.
Yeah.
Like you have to deal with the consequences of your actions as a person.
Yeah. Well, like in our concealed carry class, we talk about it. Like, listen, everyone out here, like you come in my house, I'll shoot you. Remember, like ending a life is altering of you forever.
Yeah.
Like,
100%.
Don't forget that we're human beings. Yes, he came through your door. Yes, you have the right to shoot him to some extent. But like,
yeah, sometimes it's even necessary, but
like he ain't gonna be the same tomorrow.
Right.
So yeah, the moral thought of that too. So
yeah,
that is crazy that they allow pit maneuvers at 140. However, I will say this: it does sound exciting.
Yeah, no,
like half chug.
It makes for a great YouTube video.
Even moderately paced pursuits are fun.
Yeah.
Especially if you're a good driver and you like to drive.
Dude, yeah.
That's the
engines roaring.
You're just, so wait, this is like
you're just sitting back there watching them. You're like, dude, most people don't know good roadway positioning. They don't know how to drive their cars. Going back to most people think they're good drivers.
Yeah.
They're not.
Yeah.
So this is the debate amongst cops. What was the best patrol vehicle?
Crown Vic.
I knew it.
Those things fucking went.
Dude, it's not just that. No, they weren't that
comfortable.
Fast. They're
wide,
very durable.
Yeah.
They're comfortable. I mean, I'm a tall guy. I'm 6'3". They are not big enough for tall people.
Right.
My back is fucked up from sitting in that patrol car with a gun belt on in a seat that I didn't fit in.
Yeah.
For agencies that didn't run a cage, you could get the seat further back and it wasn't as big a deal. But my seat was crammed into the cage and I just didn't have enough room in the car.
Yeah.
But from a driving the cop car standpoint, the Explorers are faster.
Mm-hmm.
We would run timed courses out at EVOC, and I could run a faster time in an Explorer than I could in a Crown Vic. But I could go over taller curbs in a Crown Vic than I can in an Explorer.
Really?
Because they had to lower the Explorers to make them handle better. So you end up with no ground clearance.
Yeah.
And then very early on, we didn't realize this. So every agency used to jumping curbs to Sacramento, most of the major thoroughfares, surface streets, had center divides, and you would get stuck in rush hour traffic and rolling code. You would go over the island to go around them at red lights and stuff like that. And then you'd get back onto your side of the road.
Right.
You'd high center out.
You would not say high center, but you would hit the exhaust. And the lowest part on that car was the exhaust. And it came down. They were basically a front wheel drive V6. They added rear wheel drive to. The exhaust came down right in the center of the car. And I don't know if you remember, probably 2015, 2016, they were having issues with cops getting carbon monoxide poisoning.
Because
in their
they
Explorers.
cracked the exhaust.
They're cracking the exhausts. And then the rear air intake for the rear air conditioning was right back by the muffler. So there was a couple things that were going on that was getting carbon monoxide in the cars, and they were having cops go into the hospital with carbon monoxide poisoning.
That's crazy.
Yeah, I didn't know
and
that.
it was because of all these different things, different factors that come into play.
Huh.
The Explorers handled great. They were fast, but you couldn't go over bumps in them.
Yeah.
Crown Vic, you can hit a speed bump at 60 miles an hour, and it just goes bloop and floats right over them. The Explorer, the first time I hit one trying to catch up to a guy who was speeding through a neighborhood, dude, everything in the back flew up, hit the roof. I'm like, what the? It sounded like I hit a square curb. So
it's wild.
Now you're starting to see like F-150s out there and all kinds of different.
Yeah, so it's funny because there was an article on Facebook. It's on a blog, but it was shared on Facebook today, and shockingly, Teslas don't make good cop cars.
Really?
Shockingly, yeah. They were actually surprised. It was kind of like this thing, and I'm like, nobody that's been a cop thought they were going to be good cop cars because cop cars, they don't get driven like normal human beings. Like your cop car can be running 24 hours a day. You can't do that with an electric car.
Right.
No.
Did the LAPD and I think even Las Vegas Metro?
There was a
picked up-
whole bunch
There's
of
a
agencies
bunch
that
of
got
them. There's a
Tesla Model
couple
3s and
Yeah.
Model S's.
There's
That'd be
one
so weird.
small city department somewhere in California that
They
they
went
went
all
all
electric.
electric.
I'll tell you what though, if
You'd
I
have
was
to
going to
switch
run
out
from
your vehicle in a 12-hour shift. You'd probably have to change out 3
Well, they're
times at
testing
least.
fire rigs now down in LA.
Yep.
My
Yeah.
buddy's
See,
a fireman.
Fire
He was
rigs
that
don't,
telling me-
aren't used like cop cars, though.
Yeah, that
They do
actually
get a lot
makes
of charging
more
time.
sense to me
They
than
do
a
get a
cop
lot
car.
of charging time, yeah.
because they're in. I
And
mean,
ambulances do too.
Yeah.
But
I
cop
mean,
cars,
it's-
they're either constantly running or you're sitting in it in a parking lot somewhere and it's
The-
air conditioner, computer, all that shit's running.
yeah, the ambulance. It depends on who you're working for and in what county. Because for us, we don't have stations, so our
Yours
rigs
are running
run
all the time, yeah.
24 hours a day or 12 hours, and then it rests at nighttime.
Yeah.
But it's all day.
But it could
yeah,
be 24 hour even for 12-hour rigs, because if you got a
Right.
couple rigs that go down for maintenance
correct.
or whatever,
It's going night to
it's
day
going
to
right
night.
back out
Yep,
as soon
exactly.
as you park it.
That's so
Same thing
crazy.
with cop cars.
Yeah.
Yeah,
You
I
can't do that
The
with
engine hour
electric
time
vehicles.
versus the miles is crazy on those vehicles.
Yeah, it's huge. Like it actually, the Explorers you can do check runtime. Like
Yeah.
they actually
Yeah.
have a built-in hour
Yeah.
meter on them.
Yeah.
We had one of our models. I can't remember what motor it was, but we constantly had to put it into high idle because at low idle it didn't have
didn't
enough
have-
oil pressure,
Oh, okay.
and so the oil wasn't getting all the way up and over, and we'd blow up motors constantly. We had like 4.
So did it have
Yeah.
like you used the cruise control thing to high
Yeah,
idle?
so you had to set the parking brake in park, and then that automatically kicked it into high
Oh.
idle. But it's obnoxious because then you're sitting there trying to,
And it's
you know,
loud.
whatever, and it's just like, "Whirr." It's very annoying.
Yeah.
I would rather it have some sort of self-regulating system where if it needed to go into high idle, it just did it and then backed
Right.
off.
Something that sensed the oil pressure and
Right.
raised it when it needed.
Yeah, exactly.
By the end of your career there, did you guys have body cameras?
No. They started coming on right about the time I retired. We had dash cams, in-car cameras my entire patrol career, though.
Yeah.
Actually, for that matter, we equipped the vehicles with the cameras when I was at fleet management.
Oh,
So when I
interesting.
went to patrol, I was on the team that picked the cameras, and we had to change computers out because when I first got hired, we were still using Motorola MDTs with a little 3.5-inch
A little green screen.
monochrome screen, and
Crazy.
you couldn't read those things for shit while you're trying to drive. And if the sun was out, they had little plastic sunshades that guys had rubber banded on them so you could see them during the daytime.
Were
So
you
old school?
Were you on board with the cameras?
Yeah, I've never had an issue
Yeah,
with it.
I'm the same
Dude,
way.
cameras save your ass more than they ever hurt people.
I agree, unless you're a piece of shit. I agree.
Well, I'm talking from the cops. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
You're right. Unless you're a piece of shit.
yeah,
but
those
most-
are the
I
guys that always are
understand-
fighting it.
I understand guys not wanting, because it's never going to catch like the abuse that BLM swore it was going to catch. What it's
No.
going to catch is you fucking off when you're not supposed to be fucking off and doing dumb shit that cops do when they're bored.
It is going to take some of the fun elements of the
100%.
not illegal, not immoral, just
Yeah.
stupid shit that people in public safety figure out
Yeah.
how to kill boredom with. It's
Right.
going to take some of that away.
Yep.
Which does suck because it does inherently change the culture. A lot of that stuff
It-
is just camaraderie building.
100%. Yep.
So
It's not stuff that's hurting anybody, but it's stuff that looks bad on camera.
yeah.
Yeah, it's hard
It's
to get
not
away
a good
with
look.
6 hours of Pokemon Go in one day.
That, well,
You know.
see, when we first had our computers in the car, other than the old MDTs, used to drive around playing pinball.
So my friend's dad was a canine unit, and before that he was just a beat cop in Santa Clara.
Okay.
And dude, all the time I'd be like, "Oh, hey Rob, how's it going?" He'd be like, "What's up, faggot?" He was just not a nice guy.
Yeah.
He was that kind of guy. And like, "Hey, how was your day?" Sat behind fucking Safeway for 4 hours.
Yeah.
What'd you do? He's like, "Watch 2 movies." I'm like,
Watch 2 movies.
"That's it?" And he's like, "Ain't shit going on right now." I'm like, "Damn, dude."
There's a lot
That
of
was
guys
the time
where
when I was
they're
like,
not
"I want to
getting-
be a cop."
Well, there's guys where it's like if they're not getting dispatched, and then they're not going.
Well, I'll tell you what, it wasn't me most of my career, but by the end, after 2014, that was 100% me.
Yeah,
I'm not going to go out and look for a fucking complaint that's going to end up on the news and cause me to lose my
Yeah.
job.
100%.
For
Fuck
your
that.
pension.
Yeah.
Yeah,
But in addition to like that, I never looked at that as like when you see like cops sitting at Starbucks having coffee, just chilling. Everyone's like, "Oh, you fucking deadbeats not out there doing their jobs and shit." I'm just like, dude, these guys are like fucking out all day working. if they have a moment to sit down and drink a cup of coffee and shit and chill, and they get a call and have to go,
Well,
like,
and
that's
even more
fine.
so for them, like if you're driving from Starbucks to, wherever,
Yeah.
and something happens in front of you, you're obligated to intervene.
You're on.
You know what I mean? Unless
it
somebody
never
is
bothered me.
unless it's a car accident, you know what I mean? That I'm just like, that sucks.
Did you ever see a
that's
car
cop problem.
accident and just go like, and just keep going?
No,
Well, we didn't respond. We didn't do car accidents.
Oh.
So
Call
CHP
CHP.
did it. So I would be like, yeah, put me out with a crash, notify CHP.
Yeah.
We'll be moving the cars out of the road,
Yeah.
Which they don't do here.
which they don't do here, and it drives me insane.
my
Cops don't-
goodness.
Non-injury
The way-
accidents blocking roadways, and they
The
just
way
leave them
they
here.
handle
do
accidents
see that
here
a lot.
drives me crazy.
Me too.
It
Took me an
makes-
hour,
it
over an
makes
hour to
no
get home
sense to my
No,
brain.
2 days ago
It's
for a
unsafe
fender
for
bender.
for a
everybody
fender bender
involved.
on the freeway.
Yeah, I don't. Idaho Public Safety. Somebody chime in. Why is it that you guys handle vehicle collisions the way that you
Dude, that
do?
one you showed me the video the other day.
I know.
Dude, they had a 2-car minor crash on the freeway in the number 3 lane.
and they left it in the
with
lane.
in a 4-lane road, and they left it in the number 3 lane.
and they probably also blocked
and they
the
had a
number 2
tow
lane.
truck there. Hook. I'm like, dude, push the car off the side of the road where it's
They
safer.
were both drivable vehicles.
That's the first thing. It's like, are you guys dying? No. Can the drive
100%.
get it
if
off
it's
the road?
Not if it's not
It's
a
almost like
You see
the
that
major
parking lot
injury
over there?
accident,
Yeah.
get
It's
them out
almost
of the
like
road.
the people involved in the accidents, because there was state troopers there, dude. It was like, why are you guys allowing the traffic to back up as far as it is?
Because it's
and not
causing
moving
more
these?
accidents.
Yeah,
Right.
it's
It's
causing
more
people
dangerous for you and everybody involved in that
yeah.
crash.
to get. People
I
are getting
sense.
road raging
I
now.
hate being in the roadway. It
Oh,
drives
it's-
me
yeah.
nuts. I mean, now I don't want it to go as far as it did. I think it was like La Jolla or something like that back in the day. Some CHP guy arrested
Oh, I saw that where you arrested a firefighter.
He arrested a firefighter for
Oh,
blocking
I did.
traffic.
I saw that. Yeah,
But
With
that
the
was
engine.
a major injury accident.
Yeah.
And patient care was underway, and he's like, "Move your engine." And the dude's like, "No, he was using the engine to block the scene."
Yeah, I saw
Right.
that
Which
video.
is
To
the
provide
right
scene
thing,
safety.
which is the right thing to do. Like, this is what you do. You use the biggest thing possible to shield everyone else that's working.
100%.
It's just so weird how they do it here, and it's not just an isolated. It's
No,
every
it's
accident.
everywhere I've seen it.
Yeah.
It's not one agency. It's
No.
not one
Yeah.
location.
It's just crazy though. Roundabout, boom, car, little bump, little boop.
Just get out of the road.
I
And they
will
just
say
stop
this
and
though. I
get out.
have seen signs in I can't tell if it's Meridian or it's right along Eagle. I've seen signs that say if it's a non-injury, pull it out of
Pull
the
over.
road.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Leave.
except,
People
for,
still
except
don't.
for when people with flashy lights show up, they block the road.
Yeah.
It's weird though, because I'm wondering if it's the drivers that think that the positioning of the car is going to help them in their accident.
I'm sure
in-
part of it's that.
investigation, and they're like,
I
"Oh,
think
I'm
a lot
gonna,
of
I'm gonna
Everybody
be
thinks
right."
there's going to be photos, and
Yeah.
dude, it's a non-injury crash. It's really easy to tell who was at fault.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Yep.
And I think a lot of people too, honestly, like people don't deal with like conflict well at all. Not that it's
that too.
conflict, but it's that the initial fight or flight turns them into fucking retards.
Yeah.
Like when they get a fender bender, I mean, anyone who's been in a fender bender knows you get a little shaky, like, are you all right? Like, oh, fuck, that sucked. But it's like, I think people just then at that point shut down. And
Maybe.
honestly, like,
It's not just fender benders. It's any kind of stress.
yes, they just, they power down. And like, here's the thing. I think a lot of people just don't know what the actual procedures are for a car crash.
Well,
Like, I
no-
think people-
and then the
You'd
other
think it'd
thing,
be part of the driver's test
Interesting, huh?
the
But
other
you-
thing is
yeah.
that they pull over to the left here.
in the center.
Yeah,
line.
I don't know why they do that. Like
Oh,
that
they-
seems
I saw that in
super
California
dangerous.
though too.
Yeah.
Yeah, we had this talk yesterday
Yeah.
about it. It seems so.
There's
Oh,
enough
it's
roads in
horrendously
California.
dangerous.
Yeah,
Dude, I didn't
Wild.
like doing vehicle stops on the freeway. If I could time it to where there was an off ramp,
You would do it.
I would
do
light them
that.
up there. Not that I was doing vehicle stops on the freeway a lot, because the only time I was on the freeway was I was like going to or from the jail.
Yeah.
So it wasn't often that I found myself on the freeway.
I was
but
like, you don't see many city cops or SOs doing vehicle.
it's because CHPs.
Yeah.
The freeway is 100%, at least in California. Here it's ISP, but it's
Yeah.
it's their area. So I mean, not that we couldn't do it.
Yeah,
there was
you're-
nothing preventing me from doing
Yeah,
it.
you're
but
legally allowed
I didn't
to.
hang out on the freeways because
That was
my calls are
So
elsewhere.
growing up in California, that was the thing. Everyone's like, oh, if it's San Jose PD or whatever, just like fucking keep going, dude. He ain't gonna pull you over. And like I talked to my San Jose PD friends, and it's like, unless you're like doing something like grossly negligent, but if I'm going 70 and a 60 and I go by a San Jose PD guy, he is not gonna flick those lights on for paperwork. Where California Highway Patrol will.
Well, it's 100%
Right?
their job.
So that's
Traffic enforcement is their
Yeah.
job.
I'd
So
always-
I was not a traffic cop.
yeah, I just
I
drive.
probably wrote one site book worth of traffic tickets my entire career.
Yeah.
Damn. That's
I used a lot of site books because we had to cite out petty thefts
Well,
and all kinds of other
and you
misdemeanors.
can use traffic infractions to pull over guys.
I did a lot of stops.
Right.
Yeah. There's a vehicle code violation. Dude looks like a dirtbag. Let me stop him. Make sure he's either legit.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Or,
you use it as a tool to
exactly.
Yeah.
whatever.
To get into the car.
And then just give them a warning and send them on the way.
Yeah.
The only people that got tickets from me are people who talked themselves into a ticket.
So, as a retired officer, when you saw all this stuff with COVID go down, especially like in states like Idaho where people were being arrested in public parks and all that, did you have an opinion on that? Like, what was your take from like a citizen?
Well, dude, all the COVID stuff was bullshit. I mean, from the get go.
But like, how do you look at that through the lens of an officer? We asked Corey the same thing. Like, I'm just curious because there's two different perspectives, right? I've never been a cop. I'm not a cop. I don't look at the world and the laws and all that kind of stuff through the same lens. So how did you see all that kind of stuff?
I don't know. I don't know would I have done it? Is that what you're asking?
Yeah, if you were a cop.
Things?
Yeah. So
I'm not arresting or citing anybody for any of that shit. Hey, the park is not open. I realize it's complete bullshit, but I need you to leave. It's part of my job. I got to get you out of here.
But what happens when they tell you no?
Then you make them leave. You call the husband, you call the wife. The one chick that raised a big stink at the park,
Sarah Brady or whatever her name was.
Her husband was a cop.
Yeah.
At the time.
Yeah.
You get him on the phone. Dude, would you talk to your wife and get her out of here?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Make it make sense.
Yeah.
Just comply.
Or,
look,
hey, boss, she ain't leaving. What do you want me to do? Arrest her? No, I'm not going to do that. You can come over and arrest her. I'm not going to arrest her. I had a lieutenant one night tell me to take a dude's gun away from him because he had just used it to shoot at a guy who was breaking into his house. I'm like, you want me to take a gun away from a guy who just legally had to use it to protect himself? You want me to take it? He's like, well, just ask him if he'll give it to us for safekeeping. I'm like, okay. I'll ask him. I go, hey, my lieutenant wants me to ask you if you want me to give that to us for safekeeping. You don't have to do that.
Yeah.
I'm like, I'm not taking dude's gun away from him. I'm like, here, borrow mine while I have yours. I'm like, I'm not going to leave him without a gun.
Yeah. Don't
he
leave
just
him
had a
unarmed.
dude who was fleeing the cops trying to break into his house.
Yeah. Yeah.
I'm like, that's fucking retarded.
That's good police work right there, though.
So do you think that there are like that kind of stuff? To me, that wasn't a law. That was like an ordinance that got put out, right?
I think there were some city ordinances are laws.
Okay.
Technically,
even if it's not.
It's a city ordinance. It's a city law. So they don't.
Okay.
There's state, federal, and city and county.
Okay.
So we had, I worked in the county, so I enforced county ordinances every once in a while.
So that is considered a law.
Yeah.
Interesting. So if the mayor, if the mayor says that there is
the city
a
council
mandate,
can. So I don't know that the mayor's allowed to pass a law. They can do policies
because a lot of that stuff was done on executive order.
Well, executive orders are different. Okay. So a city ordinance is going to be voted on by the city council.
Right.
And then the mayor would enact it.
Okay.
Just like federal law. The House and the Senate, they write the laws, they pass them, it goes to the president for signature. Same thing on a much smaller basis for city and county governments. City ordinance, dude, I don't think I ever in my life enforced a county code. I should say I enforced them. I didn't cite people for them.
Yeah.
You educated.
Yeah. It's like, look, this is, you can't be doing this. This is why I may or may, like, especially like gun laws. There's California. There's a shit ton of gun laws.
Yeah.
I ran into people all the time who were violating gun laws. Yep. I didn't take their gun and take them to jail. I'm like, look, dude, this is the shit that's going on. You can't be doing this.
Yeah.
Go home.
Yeah. Don't do that again.
Yeah.
Unless they're jacking a 7-Eleven or shooting people.
Yeah.
I had one, I felt bad. I had this one drunk idiot one night. Somebody was knocking on his door to try, it was like, solicitors. They were knocking on doors trying to sell people shit. He greeted him at the door with a shotgun. Dude, you can't do that when you're drunk. Yeah. You can't do that when you're not drunk, but definitely don't do it when you're drunk.
Hold on. So that actually brings me to a question. And obviously Idaho versus California law, and then all the rules and everything like that. So in your home, what made that you definitely can't do it, right? Like, are you legally allowed
there's no reasonable fear for your life. You're brandishing a weapon for somebody knocking on your door. That's not reasonable.
So does brandishing extend into the home?
if you open the door with a shotgun at low ready, yes.
To the public. Yeah, I guess it would be.
It's different if the gun was just leaning against your wall. He's holding it while he opened the door.
So if I answer hypothetical, and this is just hypothetical, right? Like I'm not saying I think you're wrong. I'm just asking the question to give people context and stuff.
So if you would have had that slung across his shoulder, it would have been different.
Totally different.
So like if I answer the door and I have a pistol in my hand, maybe I was just cleaning it.
Put it behind your back. Don't answer the door with visible.
But would that constitute brandishing if they were fearful? That's tricky.
It's almost
some
like
of it's going to depend on your demeanor as well. This guy didn't just open the door. And go, hi, what are you looking for?
Like, what the fuck do you want?
Exactly. Get the fuck off my property. Like
100%.
So did the solicitors call you guys?
Oh yeah.
Okay.
They ran out to their car, jumped in their car, drove around the corner, and waited.
The psycho man.
Yeah, dude. We were just. I don't remember what it was. It was
Don't
like
go back to that
subscription
guy's
services
house.
or something.
I don't want any fucking solar.
Well, and that's at that point. He just they just knocked on the door and he greeted him with a shotgun. I'm like, well, shit. Hope he doesn't greet me with a shotgun.
Yeah.
Because it's going to go a whole different way.
Oh, for sure. 100%. I mean, I definitely agree with that sentiment for sure. But like my idea is like in Idaho, right? There's no like real law or code or anything that requires any specific type of handling of your firearm in your house. If it
or anywhere else.
Well, no.
I mean, Idaho's pretty open game when it comes to guns.
But in open public, there are definitely like legal things you can and cannot do with your gun.
Okay.
In your house, though,
you can't point them at people, but that's pretty much the extent of it.
You can actually use your gun as a deterrent here.
No. We don't use our firearm to correct behavior.
We're not talking about
behavior.
We're not talking about your.
But as a deterrent, it has to depend. That's when it gets tricky. It depends on the context.
Yeah.
Because if I'm deterring you, like, hey, fuck your stupid big truck,
Not
I'll show you a gun.
But brandishing is like a legit use of a firearm as well. If the guy's, if he's starting to try to fight you, and you pull a gun out and hold it down, it's not because you're trying to brandish it.
Well, that's not brandishing, though. That's like a level in defense.
But if that guy wasn't trying to fight you, it would be a brandishing.
Correct. So context matters.
Context 100% matters. Yeah, exactly. That's what I was trying to get at.
Yeah, I agree with you wholeheartedly. And that also comes down to like what if this?
Yeah.
And then
you can play the what if game
it
forever.
Fucking depends, bro. So I definitely get that. But in Idaho, you can drink in your house legally.
Yeah.
And in Idaho, you can also spin your fucking gun on your finger above your head while it's loaded if you want.
Yeah.
Right? So being drunken, so I guess my question really is,
you can do both of those things in California as well.
My question is does the drinking portion of him having the shotgun inside of his house and handling it make it worse, or was it just the act of answering the door with it in an aggressive way?
It had nothing to do with. Well, at that point, he also came out of the house later, so he got arrested for public intoxication and brandishing.
Sucker. Yeah. With that being said, I am 100% against fucking with your guns while you drink.
I think the parallel is probably more like if you had a loaded gun in your car and you were drinking, and it was available to you.
Mm-hmm.
Like you could make the same parallel if you're drinking in your house and you're loaded.
Yeah.
And then you've got guns available.
We won't talk about that, but I know the caveat to that too.
That's probably the better comparison.
Yeah. So that's all. I'm just asking questions.
Yeah.
My bad. I'm not saying it's right. I do not, if I drink, I do not touch guns. I don't do it.
That's probably a good rule.
Straight up. No, I really truly believe that. Like some people are like, well, what
that's
if
why these were a bad idea in my gun vault.
Why? Because you drink in these. And
we'd
like,
go in the gun vault, hang out.
It's a great drinking chair and couch. Yeah, it's very comfortable.
They're very comfortable, and then everybody would want to touch all the guns.
So, what point in your career did you decide I'm going to go online and start giving my my 2 cents? Because it's funny. It's like cops and people that retire out of public safety. They seems like they all start YouTube channels.
It was not long after I was involved in an officer-involved shooting.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I kind of at that point I'm like, you know what? I'm tired of keeping my opinion to myself.
Sure. Can you walk us through that? You feel all right?
Which?
Both. I mean, what was the circumstance that led to it?
The shooting?
Yeah. And why was that such a motivator to start voicing your opinion?
I'm like, if I'm going to get killed doing my job, I'm going to at least be able to express my opinion.
Okay.
That was part of it.
That's very fair.
Yeah.
And I still couldn't freely express my opinion. I had to do it under a pen name. I had to, it was Deputy Matt. It wasn't Matt Silvey.
Right.
So there was a lot of caveats to me being able to do that. The shooting, it was a incomplete 911 phone call.
Oh.
Not much.
Somebody dialed and didn't answer kind of deal.
No, they dialed 911 and you could hear a struggle in the background.
Oh.
But that happens all the time. Kid playing with the phone. That sounds like a struggle in the background. So yeah, exactly. Yeah. You just don't know what's going on. Incomplete 911 phone calls. We'd go to
Constantly.
All the time, yeah.
2 a day as
Yeah.
as a patrol cop.
Yeah.
And so it wasn't an uncommon call. So I ended up rolling up to the call, talking on the computer with my cover, I didn't have a cover unit in my district. So one of our K9 guys was coming from a different district to cover me. Just kind of coordinate like where I'd meet him, because
Sure.
I knew I was going to beat him at the call. I was a lot closer. And so I'm just sitting where I told him I'd meet him. And I cracked the passenger side window a little bit because the house was off to my right. So that way I could just like keep an ear out, since I didn't know what was going on at the house. And it was July 3rd. And it was Sacramento. So it's like fucking 135 degrees. I mean, it was hot.
Hot as fuck.
And I'm sweaty as
And
shit.
brutal heat too.
yeah.
There's no breeze. Like there's no relent.
And it's the end of the day. It's 9 o'clock at night, and I worked swing shifts. So I've already been in a car for 6 hours. So everything is sweaty and stuck to me at this point.
Yeah.
So the air conditioning's on in the car, and I'm like, I'm not rolling the windows all the way down. I cracked the one to the side where I could hear something, but the AC was cranked on. And I'm just kind of sitting there waiting for him to show up, for my cover to show up so we can go knock on the door. And I hear something. So I creep forward because I'm sitting around the corner from the house. The house it's a very short little street that connects one major artery to a little small neighborhood that was like off of a circle. So it's just it's like a 2-house street.
Mm-hmm.
The house we're going to is the second one down. So I'm around the corner. I creep forward to see what the hell the noise was. I think it was a door or something. I'm not sure what the noise was that caused me to poke around the corner. But then I see a guy walking down the driveway with a rifle, and start walking off into initially I'm like, oh shit, dude's walking down. It's not normal in Sacramento
Right.
for people to walk down the street with a rifle.
Completely out of character.
Yeah. Even if you're going to your car, you typically had it in a bag or something like that. And he wasn't holding it like he was walking to his car. He was holding it 2 hands, not like muzzle down or slung or something going to his car. He's holding it like
it didn't look administrative.
Right. It looked like I'm getting ready to use it versus I'm just going to go throw it in my car. So I start driving down the road towards him on the wrong side of the road. So I cross over to the same side he's on. And I unlock my rifle in the rifle rack because dude's got a rifle. I'm not fighting rifle.
Yeah, we're not
handguns.
going.
We're not. Yeah, I'm not. So I unlock my rifle, charge it, lay it on the dash, and then as I roll up, I've got my high beams are already clicked on. So when I turn my headlights on, it'll be high beams. As I roll up to him, I hit the takedown light on the light bar, and I throw my high beams on, and I grab the PA. I'm like, turn around and put the gun down. He immediately turns around, shoulders it, and cranks off around at me.
Pucker.
Yeah, especially because it hit the car. I could hear it hit the car. At that point, I shouldered my rifle, and I was using an EOTech at the time, and I'd forgot after dinner to turn my EOTech back on.
Oh,
so it's got a 6-hour timeout.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
So my EOTech is dead at this point. The rifle I was using, it's my LWRC.
Mm-hmm.
It had a fixed front sight post on it. So I just put the front sight post on him and used the EOTech as a giant rear reticle.
Yeah.
And I cranked off 4 rounds through my windshield. The homicide investigators later told me that one of those 4 rounds grazed him on his right side. But I mean, I was at 35, 40 yards shooting through my windshield. I'm amazed I even got that close with no sights.
Yeah.
Or with minimal sighting. At that point, he was still standing. At the time, which I still play video games a little bit, not nearly as much as I used to, but I used to play Call of Duty a shit ton. Like my days off, I would play hours.
Yeah.
And in Call of Duty, the first thing I would do if I engaged a dude and he didn't go down, I would reposition.
Sure.
Didn't even think about it.
Just
At
get
this
off
point,
the X and
I'm like, I'm stuck in my car. I'm not jumping out of my car right here.
Door's
I'm
not
totally
open yet.
fucked. Door's not even
Okay.
open. So by the way, shooting an AR inside an enclosed car is not advised.
Yeah.
Oh,
really loud.
Flashbang.
So I throw my car in reverse, back around the corner where I was before, throw the door open, step out of the car, get on the radio, shots fired, all that crap. And then my cover unit rolls up 30 seconds later because he hears the radio traffic and throws it in code and rolls. He gets there a lot quicker. He rolls up, parks to my right, gets out of the car, sees my windshield. He's like, oh shit, are you okay? I'm like, yeah, dude, I'm good. Dude's over here. And then all of a sudden we look up and dude's walking right towards us. And at this point, he no longer has the long gun. He's got a handgun.
He was ready to bang. Yeah, he was ready.
So he's coming towards us. We're yelling at him. Drop the gun, drop the gun. He's like, you can hear him on the in-car camera. You can hear him. It's not going to happen.
Jeez.
He
had a mission.
Yeah.
He was going out.
He had a lot of psych issues he apparently was the word I got that he was a former Marine, had lots of psych issues, liked guns.
Yeah.
Doesn't like, I can't fault the guy for liking guns.
No, not at all.
No.
For that matter, the rifle he was using to shoot at me, I had it home in my same exact gun in my gun case.
Yeah.
In my mind, I'm like, if he gets to the center line of the road based on where I was, I'm like, I'm dumping him.
Yeah.
And he got there, and it was really strange because when he hit that line, my partner fired. We both fired 6 shots at that point, and it was almost 100% spot on, same rate of fire, same trigger pull times. It was really strange.
Yeah.
Like we both fired 6 rounds in unison.
Interesting.
Did you turn your EOTech on by that point?
By that time, I had turned my EOTech on.
Okay.
Yes, like I actually had some sort of sighting
Reference,
system to use, and dumped him in the street. There was actually a third unit there. He was behind me, so thankfully he didn't shoot because I might have caught around the back of the head. The 3 of us approach him, and as I'm walking up, it's like, oh fuck, where'd the goddamn handgun go? Did I imagine that? And then the canine officer grabbed him, rolled him over to make sure it wasn't still in his hand because he's down on his face.
Right.
It wasn't there when the first round. So as they analyzed what happened, the first round hit him in the pelvis, blew out his pelvis.
That's
so
painful.
he went forward and down, and as he went down, the gun that was in his right hand got flung. It was like 8 feet to my right, his left.
Yeah.
So as we were rolling him over, the other officer goes, "Oh, I got it. It's over here." And you can see it. It's all on camera. He steps, like you can see the gun on camera. It's shitty in-car camera at night. We were digital at that point, but it was still not the greatest.
It wasn't 4K.
A camera can't do real good at night without light sources.
Correct.
Right? So it's in the night vision mode, so it doesn't pick up as good a clarity.
Yeah.
But you can see the gun on the ground. He goes over and he just stands there and guards the gun until we get other people there to start throwing crime scene tape up and all kinds of other shit. But fire gets there and he's done. That's the second round. So the first round hit him in the hip. That's when he went down. And as he was going down, another round went right in his collarbone here, right through, and just destroyed his heart. It went straight through his heart. And so he was...
That's pretty.
He could be on the operating table. He was done.
Oh, yeah. He made it to the hospital.
No, he didn't make. No, I'm saying he could have been on the operating. He was done at that point. There's nothing.
Really
there's no saving him.
Yeah. Anyways, you've got your subclavian artery there, which is very.
What are you, like a paramedic or something?
it's not.
Do you know about the body?
That's a brutal shot to take.
Yeah.
That's why they say, if you're going to be wearing plates, like wear them high
up,
and don't dip because you don't want to. You want to present that flat face.
Yeah.
Because that brisket shot.
Well, it's also
absolutely.
It's also, I've obviously never been a cop or in an officer involved shooting, so clear that up so no one tries to freak out. But I've done a ton of research on officer involved shootings and stuff, and I get a lot of information from that about how I teach and like things like that.
Yeah.
And then even also just watching it on the simulator, the first shot can dump someone. It's the subsequent shots and the different positions in which they enter as someone crumbles down.
Yep.
And I think there's a lot of people that don't understand. They think like, oh, if you shoot someone in the chest, they're going to fly backwards and stuff. No, they drop like bags of sand.
Mike Brown, that shooting, they screamed that he got shot in the back.
Yeah.
He did.
Yeah.
Because the first round caused him to turn. So as you're shooting, it's all within a split second. Those other rounds hit him in the back. Yeah, he got shot in the back. It wasn't that he shot him in the back as he ran away, which is what they were claiming.
Right.
So yeah, it's all those subsequent shots as shit is happening, and your brain can only process stuff so quickly. Yeah. Like you've made that decision to fire, it's a split second to make the decision to stop firing, and the body is still, things are happening.
Well, and then also, I mean, if you think about it too, like
so fast
under adrenaline,
so fast.
And it's like, here's the thing: I don't recommend other people do what I do, but I watch every single shooting I can find. Like I obsess over finding it, looking at what happened, analyzing it. Like
Making sure the acorns aren't attacking.
yeah, if it's acorns, then teasing it. Front row, front row. Help!
What was the most recent one? She shot at the
glass, the mirror. Did you see
Have you
that?
seen that one?
No,
Yeah.
She
I've
comes
seen
down
that.
the stairs. I'll lay it out. So the male officer in front, female officer in back, descending down a stair set. There's a big, huge mirror to the left.
So
of
she
the-
sees her partner.
and as she's coming down,
In the
she
mirror?
catches a shadow and like, it just bop, 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 and then like chaos.
And she's like, it's a mirror. We're good.
But it's like, that's real world shit. Like that's,
Yeah.
you know, you can look at her and say, oh, she's a shitty cop. She doesn't, but it's like, dude, what the fuck do you do in that situation? You
Yeah,
see
you got-
something, you go, oh, fuck.
Well, especially if you're looking in a mirror and somebody's pointing a gun at you. I mean, you don't know it's a mirror.
Yeah. And we don't know the context of the call. Like maybe it was
Right.
a shooting or maybe it was a
Whatever
report.
it was,
Yeah. But it's just taking what you said to turn it to like for civilians to think about like, as a civilian, you're expected to stop shooting when the threat is neutralized.
Correct.
Not a second more.
I mean, that's when you're expected to stop shooting as
Yeah,
well.
no,
Well, yeah, I
it's
mean,
everybody.
absolutely, but
you,
like-
you shoot until the threat's neutralized.
that's it. And
you're
here's
not
the thing.
shooting to kill either. You're
No.
shooting to stop them.
We're never
Yeah.
shooting to kill. We don't
Yeah.
use the K word here at SimShot. But it's like that, and that's just testament to how fast it happens. It's like, you know, you shoot them, boom, boom, and you're already reset and sending that third shot down, and he leaned forward, and now you have one at the top of the head.
Yeah.
And it's like that's reality.
Yeah, those
Yeah.
subsequent shots can go
And here's the thing. I think there's a good from like the legal perspective, I think there's a good understanding of like this was clearly excessive force versus this was a string of shots to defend himself. I think that that's probably pretty easily depicted, but like you can get hardcore fucked if like the shot placement looks weird and they determine like this was the one that ended the life. Like that's when that excessive force starts kind of coming into play for civilians.
I mean, there's a ton of examples of people going down,
Mhm.
and they are still an active threat.
Oh, dude. Yeah.
1,000%.
How many rounds did he get off?
The dude who was shooting at me?
Yeah.
So my understanding, I don't know because I never saw the gun itself. I mean, I read in the report what it was. It was a Mosin gun. So at best, he had 5 rounds.
No.
Mhm.
On my in-car camera, you can only see 3. The first one wasn't captured on camera. Neither were my shots because the camera wasn't on. So our camera had, I think it was a 30-second buffer. Where it would record, and then when you activate it, it would capture the previous 30 seconds.
Backdate, yeah.
Right. So by the time I backed out into the street and threw my light bar on, enough time had elapsed that you don't see his initial shot at me. You don't see any of my shots going back at him. You do see him crank off 2 rounds at me as I'm backing up.
Mhm.
So it was, somebody said that I had heard, and I don't remember if it was one of the homicide detectives that told me or just one of the cops that was at the scene, but that the Mosin Nagant was locked up. Like he couldn't, I don't know if it was a failure
Some
to feed,
failure
if
or
something,
whatever.
somewhere it had failed.
Wow.
But so he cranked off 2 rounds while I was in my car engaged with him. And then he cranked off at least 2 more while I was backing out.
Did he ever fire the handgun?
The handgun was empty.
Wow.
Not even, there was no bullets in it. I don't know if it had
So
a bag
he was,
in it.
yeah. I mean, he was.
And it was a-
Cop assisted suicide.
It was a Colt Mustang, little 380, 1911.
I know what a 380 is.
What about a 32?
I don't know what that is.
Slightly smaller than a 380.
I know. I'm
So how
I
is
don't know.
your dream? Can you walk us through like the debrief and then the things that came after that, or
It was a long night.
I bet. That was
So
9
that was
o'clock?
right about 9 o'clock. I didn't get home till like 2 a.m.
What a weird thing to get home
So-
after a night like that.
After the shooting, my car is, shit, you were there.
yeah? I was actually on a ride along that
He was
night.
on a ride along that night, was at the scene shortly afterward.
Oh.
I didn't even know.
I didn't even know
yeah.
that. I mean, I knew
I
I
don't-
did, but
Yeah, I didn't.
We'd never met before.
Yeah, exactly.
So that's small.
Wild.
Right?
That's a small
What the
world
fuck?
Right there.
it was
So-
just happenstance too because I was riding with an agency that doesn't even. They were just like a cover.
Dude,
It shot.
Officer involved shooting. Everybody
Everybody
drops
goes.
everything
Yeah,
and
everyone
goes.
goes for sure.
It ruined my whole night. Actually, thank you.
Yeah, 'cause you got stuck at
I
the crime
stuck at the crime scene.
Because your car was in the scene, right?
Yeah, yep. Within the distance of what they were.
According
So
off.
car stays there. My gun initially, I'd put it back in the lock in the
Your
car.
rifle?
My rifle, yeah.
Yeah.
I'd put it back in the lock in the car, but then at that point, the range master got there and collected it. Pulled the mag out. He took the gun. one of my partners, good friend of mine, gave me a ride back to our station, and it was hang tight until homicide.
Stand by to stand by, yeah.
Yeah. So he's actually, initially it was hang tight. When they're ready, I'll take you back over to the scene to do the walkthrough with the range master and everybody. So actually my gun was still in the car that whole time.
Did they segregate you from your partner?
Yeah. Yes.
Yes.
Yeah. You're not supposed to be talking to
Right.
anybody else that was involved. So we're at different locations. I think he went to the detective office, whereas I went to the North Station. He didn't work out of the North Station. He didn't have a locker there or anything. So I go to the station and I'm like, well, fuck, I'm going to be off a couple of days. I got some paperwork to do. So I started knocking reports out. I needed to do something to fucking stay
Sure,
occupied.
yeah.
Otherwise I was going to go nuts.
I'm like, were your
Um,
nerves just fried?
Oh,
at
dude,
that
I
point?
was, yeah. That's even when I got home. So I got home at like 2:00. I didn't sleep till fucking 1:00 in the afternoon the next day.
That's what I'm saying. Like,
I couldn't go to sleep.
I can't imagine the sensation of having dealt with an incident like that and then going home.
The
just
adrenaline dump was incomparable.
Like the
I mean, it was
chills
like,
and shit, yeah,
just completely
Yeah.
not something that I've ever experienced besides
Yeah.
that one time.
And then
thankfully,
knowing that, like, your policy and knowing that you were well,
oh, dude, it
within
was
your right,
it was a fucking,
but you're still
slam
nervous.
dunk.
It was as clean as it
Yeah,
gets.
he shot at me first.
Yeah,
So
but you're
it's-
still probably nervous of what the DA could do, or like,
yeah.
you
Yeah.
know,
Well, the DA is a concern. My bigger concern at that point, actually, is honestly was lawsuits. Every time you shoot somebody as a cop, you can expect a lawsuit.
Yeah.
Doesn't matter if you're 100% clean shoot like this was,
You're going to get sued civilly.
and I didn't.
Wow.
And I attribute that to something that happened before I ended up going to the station. I'm sitting there. I'm just like, my gun's back in the car, and I'm just standing around waiting to. Dude, I've never been in. I had been in one shooting prior to that, but it wasn't fatal. So I'm like, I don't know what the fuck's next. I'm just standing around waiting.
Yeah.
And all of a sudden, this woman comes wandering into the crime scene and starts running over into the dead dude in the road. And I'm like, well, shit, nobody else is here. So I go to intercept her. And she's screaming, "You killed my brother. You killed my brother." And I'm like, stop. I said, I go, I am very sorry, but he shot at me first.
Yeah.
I don't think she didn't have a clue that I was the guy
Yeah.
who shot him. And she stopped and she goes, "Oh my God, I'm so sorry." Like it was,
Which is, I almost.
because they all knew that he had mental
Yeah.
health issues.
Yeah.
jeez, Louise, that's
So,
so crazy.
And,
That's more
I mean,
rational.
like right now, it still chokes me up every day. I
Yeah.
talk about that. But I attribute that to the fact that that interaction is probably why I didn't get sued. You know, they don't want the officer who just shot somebody talking to the family. And I wouldn't
Right,
have,
right.
except we can't have her run over and grab the dead guy in the middle of the road and start
Yeah.
rolling him over and getting herself covered in blood and all kinds of other
Yeah.
shit.
That's wild that no one saw her running into the.
Yeah. Well, the house was in the crime scene. So she came out of the house that was in there. So she was
Yeah.
already in the crime scene.
Mm-hmm.
So it just, shitty
Happened.
luck that she came out behind everybody. I'm not faulting any of my coworkers.
Yeah,
They
yeah.
were all doing stuff.
Yeah, busy.
Yeah.
I was like the only guy staring my thumb up my ass, not doing anything.
Jesus.
But so, yeah, I that's the only reason I can figure that I didn't get sued. Every coworker I ever worked with, several of my good friends were involved in shootings and ended up shooting people.
Yeah.
Every one of them got sued. And that lawsuit goes for fucking ever.
Yeah.
One of them was over a decade
Damn.
before it was finally adjudicated and found not at fault, and we didn't know any money.
Jeez.
So, and it's not that they're just going after the department; they're going after the officers individually as well.
Right.
Right.
Did you call Monica right away?
I called her after I went back, sat in the car, put my gun in the lock because it's going to be on the fucking news.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
And it's 9:00. She's still awake at that. Now she'd be in bed because bedtime's like 8:30 now, but we're old. At the time, she was working swing shift also. So she, it was our normal hours to be. Her swing shift was a little bit different than mine.
Was she a cop as well?
No, she was a nurse,
Okay.
or she is a nurse. So her swing shift was different hours than ours, but she was at 9:00. She was still up, and it's going to be on the news, or she's going to get phone calls, or it's going to be on Facebook.
Yeah.
So I called her and look, I'm okay. I was involved in a shooting. I am not injured. Don't freak out. And then, it was a really short phone call. I go, I don't know when the fuck I'm going to get home.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Just enough to give her the peace of mind
yeah.
of like,
Yeah.
I'm
And
okay.
I'm okay.
Ironically, I sat in the car to do that. And because there's a lot of noise and shit going on. So I'd closed the car, but the in-car camera ran for hours that night because nobody turned it off until the car got moved. So actually the phone conversation, at least my end of it's all captured on the in-car camera as well. But yeah, no,
Interesting.
And somebody asked what happened to my windshield, and you know me, I'm a smartass. Like 99% of the time, I will make some fucking off humor comment where I'll like self-deprecating humors. That's cops do that in general, but that's a big thing for me. But I was like, damn, shooting your rifle inside an enclosed car is really loud. It's something along those lines, and that's on camera too,
which is entirely true.
It is 100% true. I don't recommend it.
Yeah.
And sorry. So back to the station, sitting around, CSI shows up. They got to photograph you.
Yeah.
What you were wearing, was it obvious that I was a cop? Well, I'm in a fucking marked cop car, and I'm in uniform. So it's pretty obvious that I'm a cop.
They got to cover all their bases.
Yeah. But 100%, especially if they do it the same way every time, but it's more important when you're like in a wrestling match on the ground, what your uniform looks like afterwards versus before, things like that.
Yeah.
I mean, my uniform didn't look any different. I didn't get shot, so there's no holes in it. And the round that I heard hit the car had skipped off the pavement and hit the frame rail directly below my seat.
Oh, wow.
So his elevation was off, which on a Mosin Nagant is actually a common thing because the front sights were really too tall. But his windage was fucking spot on. Wow. If he had it a little bit higher up, it would have gone right through my windshield. So that was a make you stop and think kind of thing too.
Yeah. Yeah, I bet.
But so sat around the station for several hours, knocked out all the reports that I had to do.
Yeah, they were backed up on.
And then eventually they drive you over to the scene. Once homicide gets there and the range, so our department, it was the range master would collect your firearm. So the homicide gets there, the range master gets there, they drive me back over to the scene. I do a walkthrough, just like, I was here, this is what happened, kind of real quick thing. And then from there, went to the homicide offices where the homicide detectives were, and went through a full interview. Had at that point, actually,
they interviewed you the same day.
Yeah, pretty sure the attorney was at the walkthrough also, but the union provides us an attorney.
Right.
Thankfully, that's one thing. In California, I am not a union guy.
I'm not either.
I pretty much hate unions except for certain things like providing attorneys to cops when they've been involved in stuff like this.
Yeah.
That's the valid use for unions, in my opinion. The invalid use, I had several coworkers that got fired that should have been fired, but the union has to fight for everybody's job. So these guys end up getting their jobs back that shouldn't have had jobs. But sorry, digress.
No,
So after we do the walkthrough, go to the office, talk to the attorney, a couple of the homicide investigators, and go through and from start to finish what happened. And I got a compliment from one of the homicide investigators. She's like, after reviewing all the videos, she's like, dude, your recollection of what happened was 100% spot on.
Which is rare because stress does funny things to your recollection.
Yeah. I mean, even just that idea that you were like, did I make that gun up? Like when you didn't see it initially?
Yeah.
Like those false memories that can happen. Yeah.
Well, the thing that I remember when he fired that first round at me and I heard it hit my car, I saw sparks. And I'm like, oh shit, it hit, like that's the bullet hitting my car, because movies. Every bullet that hits a fucking car in a movie sparks. Right? Then I started thinking about it. I'm like, the rational part of my brain is like, wait a minute, this is later, not at the scene.
Yeah.
Like, wait a minute, fucking bullets don't spark when they hit cars, especially not a plastic front bumper cover.
Right.
So I'm like, at that point, my brain's going, well, what the fuck? What was that? Right? He was shooting surplus ammo that was steel core. So when it hit the street, the steel core sparked.
Yep.
So, from my point of view, it was right about where the front bumper was. Right. So it looked like the sparks were off the front bumper. But I'm like, later being the gun guy, I'm like, wait a minute,
that doesn't
fucking bullets don't spark. Lead and brass don't spark.
Yeah.
Or lead and copper. And so that was one of the things I found out later down the road. Before we ended up shooting the guy, one of the neighbors in the neighborhood heard gunfire, had come out and was standing directly in our line of fire, behind the dude, standing on the sidewalk. And I'm sitting there yelling at him, like, sir, get back in your house.
Yeah, what the fuck are you doing?
And so he finally, thank God, he listened. But my partner who was there Never even fucking saw the guy. He's like, why are you yelling at the fucking suspect to go back in his house? So, dude, it's just amazing the different
Yeah.
And it can be just a matter of a couple of degrees.
Yeah.
Of perspective.
Well, it's not, I don't think it was that. I think some of it, because at this point I've been involved in like 6,000 officer involved shootings from playing Call of Duty. Right.
Yeah.
I always played Call of Duty. Like when I play video games, even to this day,
Yeah.
I don't do it like I'm a fucking gamer. I do it from if this is the real world, how am I going to handle this? I've
We should totally play a game
My
together.
kid-
You would hate me.
You're the guy who's jumping around and
I
fucking
just like,
dolphin
Leroy!
diving.
You're like, Jeremy, get back here! I'm just like, there's a team on me, team on me, team on me.
Yeah, no, but I tried to do it from a
Tactical
training my
standpoint,
mind
yeah.
standpoint. And I think part of it was because I was so used to being in,
Yeah.
There's
Processing
actually,
power
we
is
know
there.
it's not it's not a shooting.
Right.
You know, you don't get adrenaline dumps from
No.
playing Call of Duty.
No,
but your
unless
attention to
it's a
detail.
really good game.
and there's
Attention
but
to
there's
detail,
data to support
processing
that
speed.
Yep.
Video
All the
games-
different stuff that you see going on and just paying attention to your surroundings in game
Yep.
does translate to real world.
and there is
1000%.
data and studies to support exactly that. It's the ones that I'm aware of are actually with surgeons, but surgeons that play video games are more accurate and steady by a factor of like 30% over ones that don't.
Okay.
Crazy.
That translates in
Yeah.
some way. I don't know how to quantify
it's
what the
training your
translation is,
brain.
but you
but-
perceive details differently.
Yeah.
You do.
So, and I think that's probably because, I mean, that was 2011. I started playing video games pretty heavily in 2002 when my kid was born because I couldn't leave the house. So I'm
Yeah.
like, my wife and I worked opposite schedules. So if I wasn't at work, I was on daddy duty.
Yeah.
I played a shit ton of video games.
Yeah, especially when they're young, there's nothing to do.
Yeah, he's sitting in a stroller or sleeping in the playpen. So I'm
I
like,
did the same thing.
we ended up going to a funeral when he was like a year and a half old. And he's in the stroller asleep at the funeral. They're like, it was a military funeral. It was a relative of mine that had been served in World War
21
II.
guns, yeah.
21 gun salute. They're like, oh, he's got to wake up the baby. I'm like, he's
He's
fine.
fine.
Slept right through it.
Yeah.
Because he's so used to sleeping through all the gunfire and the video games.
That's hella funny.
So how does that, I mean, you kind of said that after that incident, that's when you decided to go online.
Yeah, because California, right? It's
Right.
very anti-gun.
Right.
And people have asked me, like, why aren't you anti-gun? The guy tried to kill you with it. I'm like, it wasn't the gun's fault. For that matter, the gun that he was shooting at me would never be outlawed, and even in California.
Yeah.
It was a 5-round capacity bolt-action rifle from fucking World War II.
And it's a
Yeah.
cool gun.
Yeah, that too. So it's not a gun that would ever be outlawed. So if they had outlawed guns, this still would have happened.
Right.
So it has nothing to do with gun control. So I was tired of, like, I'm a gun guy. I have been since I was a kid. I'm tired of all the bullshit laws that California has regarding guns. So I just started, I started my own blog.
Mhm.
That was like, I ran it until I got actually a writing gig at another blog. I don't know if you remember Joe the Plumber. He was the guy that jammed up Obama at a campaign event
Remember that guy?
before he got elected. I ended up writing for that guy's blog for a
Okay.
while. And it was mostly politics, but I started delving into gun stuff while I was writing there because guns are politics, right?
Yeah.
I mean, there's politics related to firearms.
Yeah,
So I started
too
writing
many.
stuff there. And then I ended up Military Arms Channel on YouTube. I followed him on, it's funny because I stumbled on his YouTube channel when I was researching the Bushmaster ACR. I fucking fell in love with that gun when it first came out because, of course, I'm playing it in video games, right? So I'm like, I got to get one of these things. And then Tim had a really good video comparing the ACR to the SCAR because those both came out about the same time. They were trying to get the same contract. So he did a video where he compared both of them, and it was like a 3-part video, but it was one of his really, really early videos. And so I watched that and I started following him on Facebook. Well, then he made a post on Facebook that he was going to start a blog. And he was looking for anybody who wanted to contribute. I'm like, well, I'm writing for a blog now, and I'd much rather write about guns than politics. So I shot him a message and said, this is where I'm writing. This is some of the stuff that I've written. He's like, shit, yeah, come write for me. So I've known Tim since 2012. No, 2013. 2013. So I started writing for the Bank Switch, which is the military arms.
And that's where Bank
blog.
Switch Matt comes from.
Correct. That's
Got
where my
it.
name on so originally Deputy Matt and others on Facebook was Bank Switch Matt.
Got it.
I
Yeah.
did a name change when the page kind of took a change.
Yeah.
But my Instagram account is still Bangswitch Matt.
Yeah.
I still have an email. It's Bangswitch Matt.
Yeah.
So it's from the Bangswitch.
At AOL.
No, no.
Hotmail.
Hey, I still have
Hotmail.
an AOL.
AOL. Yeah. No, I honestly I don't remember if I ever had an AOL. I think I had an AOL account for like a week.
Yeah, I had
But
one.
it was very short lived because I ended up getting at the time I got a free email account through Sac State where I was
Yeah.
going to school. So I'd screw paying for it. I can do it for free.
Yeah.
So then that just
Kind of
started.
naturally progressed.
And so then that's how I kind of started writing gun stuff. Was that
So
it
it was
started?
mostly blogging for quite a while then.
Yes, yeah. So when I started writing for Tim, there was I'm trying to think. The first thing I did a video on was a bullpup shotgun chassis for Remington 870. I think that was my first video I ever did.
Mm.
I was like writing an article on it. I'm like, some of this shit's going to be a lot easier to talk about in video. So
you
I
just
made a
set a
YouTube
camera
account for Bangswitch Matt, and so I posted the link to that video in the blog, and so that way that's the whole reason I started it, was just to go along with the blog.
So really, you're one of the OG gun tubers, is what you're saying.
I just suck.
Yeah.
So I don't have the followers that a lot of these guys do.
Yeah, I mean, hell, Matt Carricker, he just retired. So
Yeah, exactly. It's funny because Mike comes in the store all the time, and I was talking to him, and I'm like, "How long have you been doing this?" He's like, "About 8 years." I'm like, "Fuck, I've been doing longer than him, and I suck."
Yeah.
He's got 4 million followers.
Yeah.
I've got 54,000.
He's got a lot.
yeah.
So, but yeah, that's kind of how I started doing the video and the blog. And it's funny because if you told my high school English teacher that I was going to be a writer of anything,
Yeah.
he'd be like, "No way, in
Yeah,
hell, right?"
Yeah.
It's funny because I ran into him shortly after I'd started writing, and I
That's
told
too
him that.
funny.
He's like, "No," then he's like, "Hey, that sentence diagramming really helps you." I'm like, "Dude, I don't even remember anything about sentence diagramming other than I hated doing it in school."
Yeah, that's hella funny.
Yeah.
Do you find when you're writing these articles that it's therapeutic? Like, I mean, I know you like to write.
Initially, that's what it was.
Kinda
So it
catharsis.
kind of, a lot of it was. It wasn't. It was just I was tired of not being able to say stuff, and so it was kind of it was cathartic to get it out.
Anytime we have a policy change, I have him write them.
No, my problem. It's funny because even in college, here's write a 5-page essay on this. I'm like, 3.5 pages good enough? Because I didn't want to. I hated writing.
Yeah, well, it's because you don't give a shit about the subject.
Well,
matter,
there
right?
was a
Yeah,
huge
that's
huge
huge.
portion of it.
Yep.
Now I'm like, I gotta knock out 2,000 words out of this thing to make it palatable because I end up writing more than I need to.
Right.
Which, again, it's just weird that I'm like, dude, I hated writing.
Yeah.
That was like the one thing in school I hated the most.
And you became a cop?
Dude, honestly, I think part of my enjoyment for writing came from writing fucking crime reports.
I believe it.
Because initially it was like, in the academy, they're like, just the facts, ma'am. It's like, okay, yeah, I can do that, but I can actually make it entertaining at the same time.
Yeah.
So I started kind of having fun writing crime reports. So it wouldn't change the facts of it any,
Right.
but it wasn't just so dry reading it.
Yeah, you could change the language to actually reflect
It was
your...
a gloomy night. The wind was blowing.
Dark and gloomy night. Yeah.
You better hope you never got arrested by him because you're not getting out of that one. That report is going down.
But that's kind of where my writing skills started, was just from writing crime reports. And Sacramento, you're taking lots of crime reports.
Yeah.
Busy.
Yeah. So I would even have the best ones were like just drunken public booking arrests because nobody's ever reading that. So you could actually have fun with those.
And that's that's shenanigans anyways.
Yeah, exactly.
It smelled of tequila and bad decisions.
I literally wrote smelled of cheap beer and poo on one of them. Because it was a transient that was drunk hanging out at a business, and we go to hook her up, and it was like, oh my God, she stinks.
Oh.
She's like, I just so happen
I
to drink
see
and
homeless
shit.
people. This is probably the same for you. I see homeless people,
And
and
I
I just
smell
look at it
it.
and I can smell them.
Yeah.
And I can't even smell anymore, but I can still smell homeless people when you look at them.
Oh my God.
From COVID?
It's like, I haven't smelled since COVID.
Dude.
Mine's back, but
same. It's like
changed.
minimal. It's not
Every
the
once in
same.
a while I'll get a whiff, and it's usually something like, it'll be shit or like something you don't want to smell. That's the only stuff I can smell nowadays.
See, mine's my cologne. I spray it on and I go like this. And I go, okay, I can still kind of smell, but like, dude, like cooking, food, like sometimes I smell a lot of smoke or like what I think to perceive as smoke.
Interesting.
It's not a brain tumor.
Okay.
Dude, I will get a smell stuck in my head that I know I didn't smell,
Oh
Yeah.
yeah.
but I can smell it for a day.
Yeah.
And it's like
Phantom smell.
bizarre.
So weird.
I almost think that the homeless person stink because it's so distinct.
It really
It's
is.
like
it's human.
it's like cheap beer, feet,
And
like
dead flesh.
wet dog.
Yeah.
Kinda. It's like a combination of all that.
That is more searing into my memory than rotting body. Like, you know what death smells like?
Oh yeah.
Like, you never forget that. I can smell it now, but
You want to
the homeless one is worse.
The best thing that I ever I shouldn't say best. The closest thing I ever smelled to rotting human is rotting pork chops. If you
Oh,
leave them out in the
interesting.
sun and kind of like in a garbage can,
Pork does get kind of stinky quick.
It was we rolled it like somebody's like, "Hey man, I'm smelling a dead body."
Oh,
One
yeah.
one time at a call, and so we're like walking around. Shit, sure does smell like a dead body. And it was rotting pork chops
Pork
in the
chop
fucking
smells-
garbage can out front.
Rotting
We're
pork
like-
chop smells more like a dead body than a dead body.
Yeah, it was. It depends on how stinky the dead body is.
Oh,
but
there's
yeah,
been a
that's
few
one where
times-
you can't get it out of your clothes. You're smelling it all
Oh.
night.
I've made more than one. I'd like walk up and like, hey, possible 1144. That's our like, whatever, our dead person. So we'll roll up and I like crack the door. I'm like, yeah, I'm not even going in. Like, there's no need for me inside.
Confirmed. He's dead.
This is his problem.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, it was coroner's problem.
Well, our deputies are our corners.
Oh, okay.
So yeah,
Ugh.
yeah, it's gross. That is a smell that just. It's one of those things I can smell it now. It's
Yeah.
funny. They say your
Gross.
olfactory sense, your sense of smell is like one of the most tied senses to your memory.
To memories, yeah. Like you'll smell something, and it'll immediately you think of something when you were a kid.
I smell. There's a specific cleaner, Simple Green, and I am at boot camp. Like it's immediate. It's weird. It's Simple Green.
Is that what you guys cleaned with there?
Yeah.
Hey,
Everything?
I'm gonna have to pull a Rob.
You gotta go.
I gotta pay.
I mean, we're at like an hour 45. So you just want to
Holy
go and
shit.
wrap? Any
Yeah.
more stories? Any more questions? Matt, thank you so much for coming on.
Yeah.
Seriously.
Thanks, dude.
I didn't honestly intend to get into the officer involved shooting story. I had known peripherally that was a thing, but you mentioned it, and thank you.
I had no idea, so I learned something
I
new
appreciate
today.
it. I mean,
Yeah.
I think it
Yeah.
does bring a lot of context. But thank you for coming on. I appreciate your
Yeah, thank you.
your time. It's kind of cool to hear the transition for people and how they go about law enforcement to evoc instructor to online personality
And then working in a gun store.
and then working at a gun store. So
awesome.
yeah, thank you. Appreciate it. You want to, where are your things? Where can people find you?
2acops.com. YouTube is 2A Cops. I'm writing at the Bang Switch again. It had disappeared for about 10 years, but it's back.
Okay.
And I just got a freelance writing gig for Springfield Armory. So I'll
Cool.
be writing for their printed publication, and they have a website also.
Awesome. Well, we'll make sure to tag you on this when it gets posted up. For everybody, thank you guys for tuning in. Check out all of our sponsors. So SimShot, Meridian. I think you're simshot.com now, right?
I can't migrate it for 60 days. So June 6th is my.
So simshotmeridian.com,
Yes.
shopblackrifle.com. Check out Vector. Check out all of Matt's stuff. We appreciate you guys. Help us get over that 1,000 mark. We're almost there. Come on, just a few more. Appreciate you guys. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks, guys. Out.